field. He ties the game at 1. Brian McRae scores, and things going pretty well in the first inning against Pat Rapp. Mark Grace keeps the hit parade going, driving the ball into right field, and it's a 2-1 game. And Sean Dunston, as he's done all year long, picking up the key RBIs. Number 20 yesterday takes it to right field, punches a slider the opposite way, and the Cubs on top 3-1. But unfortunately, that's exactly where it would stay for the Cubs. And then the home run barrage starts. And it starts with Tommy Gregg going way back in right field. This is a bullet into the wind. The wind blowing in 14 miles an hour. It didn't matter at all. It's 3-2 at this point. Then Kurt Abbott comes up, and he goes opposite field. This one way back in right center field, and it's a tie game at 3. And the home run that put him ahead to stay off the bat of Charles Johnson. Mike Perez on the mound, and Johnson gets all of it. Taking it way back against the wall, put the Marlins up 4-3. They go on to win 5-3. And coming up after these messages, a talk with the talented young catcher of the Marlins, Charles Johnson. Major league catchers have a dual problem. 1, they have to know their own pitching staff, and 2, they have to know every pitcher in the league, because offense is a big part of it. And Charles, you've got to know your staff especially well because you've got a young staff. But talk about priorities. What's your #1 responsibility?
I think my #1 responsibility for me is be a catcher first, then a hitter. You know, because I really got to help the team out behind the plate, and that's something I've always been taught from high school to college and up to the minor league. So, you know, hopefully I can carry it on to my major league career.
Yesterday, you made one of the best throws that I've seen all year long. You cut down Sean Dunston, despite the fact that he had a great lead at first base. Have you ever had any problems catching or throwing?
Well, you know, I mean, I've been thankful to have a lot of, you know, great catching coaches behind me. My dad, for one, I went to Miami, had Turtle Thomas, and, you know, come over here with Joe Breeden. So I've been thankful to have a lot of guys behind me. But as far as my throwing, I never had too much of a great deal of problem throwing in my career.
How about blocking the plate? Some catchers like to take on the opposing runners. Some guys love the collision at home. Yesterday, you set up for it, but then you moved aside and you held on to the ball. Pretty good tag.
Yeah, you know, the throw was kind of down a little bit, and I wasn't sure whether, you know, to stay in there, but I knew that, you know, staying in there wasn't a very good idea because there's a big guy coming in there, and, you know, I kind of like rolled him out of there because at that time in the ball game, it wasn't a bang-bang play, and I really didn't have to stay in there and take that impact.
Now, I know you're hitting in the ones, but like most young hitters coming up, you don't know the pitchers. Yesterday, you went long ball. You got an inside fastball. How long is it going to take you to learn the pitchers?
Well, you know, hopefully, you know, once I go around the league one time, you know, the second time around, hopefully things work out well for me. It's a matter of me just staying relaxed, you know, and making adjustments.
As the first player ever drafted by the Florida Marlins, number 28 in the draft in the first round, was there any added pressure on you because you were from Florida?
Well, you know, not really, you know, because I think just playing there alone was a great help for me. I had the opportunity to play at University of Miami. You know, a lot of great fans, a lot of great you know, players there, and you know, and I was kind of used to it. You know, I was used to all the family being around. I was used to the Miami fans and stuff. So, you know, as far as the added pressure, that wasn't there for me.
John Burkett goes to the mound. He's 3-3. Your team is 7-20. Burkett, a veteran, a 20-game winner. Who calls the game, you or him?
Well, you know, I call the pitches. I make the suggestions, but, you know, it's up to him to make the last decision. But we've been working very well together, and hopefully today we can, you know, try to put a win on the board today.
Well, Charles, good luck to you. You look like it's going to be a great career. And stay with us. We'll be back with a look at the scores and the pitchers coming up after these messages. On the mound today for the Marlins is John Burkett. He's 3-3. Doesn't sound like much, but when you consider his team is 7-20, you can believe that Burkett has done quite a job for this team, and he's the #1. He's the veteran coming over from San Francisco, and he's looked to as the leader of this staff. Jamie Navarro going to the mound for the Cubs. He's 4-0, looking for a 5-0 start. The first time it would happen since a very spunky, under-talented right-hander did it in 1975. Well, we won't tell you who it is. We'll save that for later. But it's going to be exciting, and stay tuned for baseball.
Guests on the leadoff man receive a Zenith 13-inch remote control color TV from Zenith and your local Zenith dealers. At Zenith, the quality goes in before the name goes on. And a handsome Esquire watch. Esquire brings a new level of quality to watches with prices as appealing as their looks. From Henry K. Jewelers, Third Level Water Tower Place, Chicago. The Leadoff Man has been brought to you by your friendly Dodge dealers. Check out Dodge's lineup of the 95 cars and trucks.
The following is a presentation of WGN Sports.
Sammy Sosa continued his good hitting in the first inning, driving in the run. So did Mark Grace. And so did Sean Dunson. But it wasn't enough because the Marlins beat the Cubs. The Cubs will try to even it up today.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN. Brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. Your local Buick dealers, the new symbol for quality in America. Your Chicagoland Builders Square, the official home improvement center of the Chicago Cubs. Pepsi. Nothing else is a Pepsi. Aflac, insuring over 38 million people worldwide. And by Southwest Airlines at convenient Midway Airport, the official airline of WGN TV Sports. Fly Southwest, the low-fare airline.
If it's time to do a little groundbreaking, don't go at it the old-fashioned way. Tear through it with a garden claw from Garden Weasel.
Just position it like this, and you'll be ready to cultivate, loosen, aerate, and weed.
The hardened steel tines rip through tough soil with just a twist of the comfort grip handles, even in heavy clay.
And it comes with a 100% lifetime guarantee.
So if you've got a tough job ahead of you, tear through it the easy way with the Garden Claw.
From Garden Weasel.
The Garden Claw is available at Kmart, Sears, and participating Ace and True Value. Makes a great gift.
As sure as the sun will rise across America, the families that travel will have one common need: to be safe. So it's no surprise that America's favorite full-size car has also been honored for safety. That's according to Prevention Magazine, which gave LeSabre the Safe Car Achievement Award in the full-size category. Buick LeSabre, the American family car.
Hello again, everybody. This is Harry Caray, and with me, Steve Stone and Thom Brennaman and that old third baseman, Ron Santo. And where do you think we are? We are in the super suite of the Chicago Cubs here at Wrigley Field. And this is ideal. I've been trying to talk them now into making this our permanent quarters, but I'm not winning the battle at all. This is something, isn't it?
Well, Harry, it's beautiful up here, and I know that you're not a rock musician fan, but if this isn't a motley crew, I don't know what is. Tommy, how do you like it up here?
Oh, I love it. Obviously, we have some great chow up here, and we've talked many times, Ronnie, that a lot of the fans, if they want to bring a big group out here, they can do so and rent this very same box.
Well, and great food up here. We've already had lunch. It's beautiful. It's like being in your living room. It's wonderful.
And listen, you know, between the four of us, we may have, how many friends we think we have?
8.
8 friends? That's how many you have. The rest of us have many more. But I was just thinking, it wouldn't cost us too much each to rent this box.
Well, Harry,
that's what the Cubs are trying to do, rent this box to the people.
As we like to say, though, if I had the kind of dust, so to speak, of Santo, Stoney, and particularly you, I'd bring them all up here.
Hey, how about that pretty girl? Did you bring her up here?
Forget it, Harry.
I will be back with the ball game in a moment.
For the third consecutive year, Southwest Airlines has won the airline industry's annual Triple Crown. #1 in on-time performance, #1 in customer satisfaction, and #1 in baggage handling. Southwest Airlines, #1 and still climbing.
For the way you make me feel, for the way you give your best, you're the one, #1 Southwest.
King Kong returns in a colossal new adventure. And this time, he gets what he wants. It's King Kong Cash, the Illinois Lottery's new instant game. Just scratch and match and get 25 grand in the palm of your hand.
Hey, what am I? Chopped liver?
King Kong Cash. Got a second? Play this instant.
She works the night shift for Memorial Hospital. There's no late for work here. No, my car wouldn't start. What does she drive? Skylark. It's sporty and compact. But she drives it because it's a Buick. She depends on it, night after night after night. Skylark. Because there are times when anything less than Buick quality is a shortcut you can't afford to take.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Caray with Steve Stone. The ball game's about to start. We hear Renee Latchman's starting lineup for the Marlins with Veras at second, Browne at third, Sheffield and Rife, Gregg at left, Colbrunn at first, Whitmore in center, Abbott the shortstop, Johnson the catcher, and Burkett, who was a 22-game winner for the Giants a couple of years ago, is on the mound. Mountain Dew presents the Cubs' defensive alignment of Bullitt, McRae, and Sosa in the outfield. Johnson, Hojo's at third, Dunston at short, Sanchez at second, Grace at first. Jamie Navarro going for his 5th victory in a row, and Wilkins behind the plate. The umpires are Angel Hernandez at the plate, Tom Hadlian at first, Bruce Fleming at second, and Jerry Crawford at third. And we're actually playing right field here today, and we're going to give Sammy Sosa all the help he might need. We're in the super box of the Chicago Cubs here at Wrigley Field. This is a box that anybody who has a party coming up will like to entertain the ballpark. I suggest you get hold of somebody with the Cubs from the Cubs front office to arrange for it. Because it's really, here's where we are in the right field corner.
Nice view from up here, Harry. Much different than our usual spot from behind home plate, but we have a much different view of the ballpark. Beautiful from up here, and certainly the facilities are wonderful. The food is excellent. You can't beat that. And all we need now, Harry, is for the Cubs to break their very short 2-game losing streak, and that'll be up to Jamie Navarro, who last time out got a no decision against Colorado. He went 5 2/3 innings, giving up 11 hits and 5 earned runs. His control has been brilliant. He's only walked a total of 4 men in his 5 starts. And so after beating Montreal, Pittsburgh, San Diego, and San Francisco, he ran into some trouble against Colorado, but here today against Florida, he'll have to contend with the right-hand hitters because the wind at 16 miles an hour out of the east is blowing toward the left field corner, and that's going to aid guys like Colbrunn and Sheffield.
You know, Bruce Kaplan was in charge of the food concessions. The food, by the way, is provided by the Levy Corporation. And Bruce is in charge of all things connected with the Stadium Club. And you mentioned the food. And not to draw any comparison, but it certainly tastes better here than it does there, our usual place.
Yes, it does, as you see Jim Riggleman taking a look out and trying to figure out just what's wrong with his ball club at home. Now, they're 4-6 at home, yet they have a higher batting average at home than on the road. You see just a 1-game lead against the Cincinnati Reds, who have been red hot of late. After that 1-8 start, they're now 16-11. The Cubs have averaged 4 runs a game at home, 5.5 on the road. So despite the higher batting average at home, they're getting more run production away from the friendly confines. And they would like to break out of that here today with 2 more games remaining against Florida. And then the Atlanta Braves, who are also playing great baseball, coming in for a 2-game series.
Well, a rainy and a cool day, but a pretty fair turnout, everything considered. And Jamie Navarro ready to face Quilvio Veras, the young second baseman, a switch hitter from the Dominican Republic. Veras hitting .232. He shortened up the bunt, takes a strike call.
I would think with Howard Johnson at third base today, they are going to test him out, and Veras is one of the guys that will bunt consistently. Veras also a very good base runner, so if he gets on, he's going to cause Navarro some problems.
Whoa, did it hit him? No, almost got him. And I imagine he won't be digging in too well in the next pitch.
No, tough to lean over the outside corner when that one almost takes the numbers off your back. And from the Southwest Plainview camera, we'll take a look at Quilvio Veras.
Yep.
Just missed that time.
So the count is evened up. A ball and a strike. He had a cut and he missed. Talking with Bruce Fleming, who's umpiring second base today, and Bill Beck, who handles the publicity for the Marlins. Bob Thompson listens to the ball games in Newport Richey, Florida. And he's recovering from a hip replacement surgery. Former umpire in the minor leagues for a long time. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
There was a look at Jim Bullinger, who was placed on the disabled list, and Turk Wendell is back with the club.
Hot smash, but Dunston has it. 1 away. And that brings up Jerry Browne, veteran infielder, outfielder. He's been with various ball clubs, Angels, Cleveland, among others. Still coming to the ballpark. And now that they know the game is underway, final game of the series tomorrow afternoon, 1:20 starting time, 1 o'clock leadoff time. There is Turk Wendell in the bullpen. Is that somebody's private plane depositing some more spectators? Jerry Browne hitting 154. There's a high fly ball, might be out of here. It could be. It is. Jerry Browne hitting 154, no homers and 4 RBIs before that swing. Now has a homer, and the Marlins just that quickly are leading 1-0.
Well, we told you about the wind blowing out toward left field, and anything up in the air to left is going to be dangerous, and Jerry Browne just went downtown. That's the 3rd home run given up by Navarro, and we'll watch it again. You look at the location of the fastball, it's up and away. If you're going to go away from the left-hand hitters today, you'd best keep it down, because the wind will take everything out of the park.
Now here is Gary Sheffield. Yesterday, home runs by Tom Gregg, his 2nd of the year. Kurt Abbott, his 4th of the year. And Charlie Johnson, his 2nd of the year. Paced the Marlins to their victory. Today, Jerry Browne hitting 154 with no home runs just put them ahead. They're getting power from unexpected sources.
And bear in mind, Harry, this team is last in the National League offensively, so this is not exactly a powerhouse.
There's a hot shot right to Dunston. 2 men are gone. Yesterday, the Marlins scored in the first. Then the Cubs came back and got 3. The Marlins added runs from then on. The Cubs didn't.
Marlins come in hitting just .223 as a team. They trail Pittsburgh by a wide margin. Pittsburgh's second to last in the National League. They're hitting .247. So 24 points difference between the Marlins and the Pirates for last and second last.
Here now is Tommy Gregg. Used to be with the Atlanta Braves and last year played in the Mexican League. 1 strike and nothing. That is, the count evened up a ball and a strike. Pete Van Aken, our good friend, is here today. He's the owner of the Peoria Chiefs. The Cubs had a working agreement with the Chiefs until they bought their own ball club in Rockford. Here's another drive, gonna be caught. The wind is carrying it, coming in. Sosa makes the catch. Boy, that'd have been out of here. That'd have been on Sheffield Avenue, except for the wind, which blowing, as Steve told you, across field. 1 hit, 1 run. We go in the bottom of the first, 1-0 Florida.
Concept cars. Those gorgeous cars built for auto shows. Wouldn't it feel great if they built one for you? Someone has. The all-new 1995 Riviera. A new world standard for structural integrity among prestige luxury coupes. Riviera by Buick. The concept car you can drive home.
Next is Lady. Exceptional sheen. Oh, very good color. Prince. Hands. Oh, such stateliness, such majesty.
Larry. Larry.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
The best of show? More?
Everybody thinks bigger is better, even at Burger King. They just did this taste test where the Whopper beat the Big Mac and Wendy's single. So why didn't they test the Whopper Junior? It's that bigger thing again. Come on, appetites come in all sizes. The Whopper Junior tastes the same as the Whopper. It's just as flame broiled. It's just as juicy. It's just Junior. One size fits all may work for tube socks, but not for burgers.
The Whopper Junior Value Meal for $1.99 at Burger King.
For Mountain Dew, Jim Riggleman's starting lineup of McRae in center, Sanchez at second, Sosa in right, Grace at first, Wilkins at catcher, Dunston at short, Johnson, Hojo at third, Bullitt in left, and Navarro the pitcher. And the defense, Greg Whitmore and Sheffield in the outfield, Jerry Browne, Abbott, Veras, and Colbrunn around the infield, Burkett the pitcher, and Johnson the catcher. Swung and he fouled it off.
Burkett has a good change, and he changes speeds well, moves the ball around. A couple of years ago with the Giants, he was just outstanding. There you look at the numbers this year. 3-3 doesn't mean much, but bear in mind his team is just 7-20.
1 ball, 2 strikes. McRae, nothing out of 4 yesterday. That evens it up, 2-2.
Burkett's been quite a pitcher when you look at his career numbers. 70-45 lifetime. 25 games over, and against the Cubs 5-0 with a sparkling 2.14 ERA. So they haven't done much with him.
He fouled it back. Burkett, 122, lost 7 for the championship Giants in 93. Struck him out. He had a weak cut. And McRae goes down swinging. 1 away. Here's Sanchez. I mentioned Pete Van Aken being here. His son Mark is at the Eastern National Guard training base in Annville, Pennsylvania, where all the instructors, including Mark, watch the Cub games on Channel 9 and on cable across the nation. Happy birthday to George Castle, sports writer and broadcaster, celebrating number 40. Boy, Burkett, very tough, a big guy. He's a tremendous bowler. He's bowled 5 300 games already. And once his playing days are over in baseball, he's going to become a professional bowler. And he makes his home in Scottsdale. I found all that going into Riazzi's restaurant in Phoenix. I forget the guy's name, who was a good friend of John Burkett, was telling me about all his bowling activities. Struck him out also.
That's the off-speed pitch, and Burkett's got a good one. There's about 10, 11 miles an hour difference between the Burkett fastball and that off-speed straight change. And that's how he struck out both McRae and Sanchez to lead off the ball game.
Well, a very sweet little lady, Joni Gatz, celebrating her 40th birthday here today. She's connected with the Cubs security. 2 men are out, both struck out. And both look bad on the third strike, McRae and Sanchez. Here's Sosa. There's a high drive, will be caught. Sheffield under it, makes the catch. 1, 2, 3 at the end of 1. The Marlins are out in front 1-0.
Let me guess. One side of you craves easy chair comfort, while the other side itches for performance, right? Well, meet Buick Regal with its famous 3800 V6 engine and Grand Touring suspension. Add to that an all-new interior with body-sensitive seats. And finally, there's a car for the two of you. Buick Regal.
There's more to corn than Indiana. There's more than corn in Indiana.
Indiana Beach.
Indiana Beach is now open Saturdays and Sundays. General park admission is only $1.50, and there's plenty of free parking.
The Superstitious Nation. Boom, boom, boom. Indiana Beach.
From beautiful Lake Shaver, Monticello, Indiana, proving once again there is more than corn in Indiana.
For a summer fun brochure on Indiana Beach and your free Indiana travel guide, call toll-free today.
Planning a family project this weekend? Get hip to the Square.
Builder's Square is a stop that gets your project going. Painting the house, building a backyard playground, landscaping, any spruce up or fix up at all.
This week, get a great square deal on a Sunbeam 35,000 BTU gas grill featuring side burner, heavy-duty cart frame, and more. Builder's Square.
We'll get you squared away.
Caray and Steve Stone from deep right field here at Wrigley Field. And a lot of the crowd has arrived late. And not bad. But the Cubs are trailing 1-0. You know, this is not a day for Sammy to be hitting the ball to right field. The wind helps him in left field.
You got to try to pull everything if you're a right-hand hitter and go the other way if you're a left-hand hitter. The wind very much of a factor today. And Navarro's going to have to keep the ball down.
Here's Colbrunn to lead it off. Swings and he misses. Navarro finds himself trailing.
There you see the flags, and it's blowing across at 16 miles an hour.
Yeah, the Kennys are here. They must have found out we were talking about them yesterday. I was going to stop by and say hello and see if they had Arnie's daily supply of prunes. There's a pitch a little bit inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Oh, I see where George Steinbrenner is rumored trying to get Darryl Strawberry and Doc Gooden signed up by the Yankees. There was Steve Howe on that ball club. That's quite a... There's a high pop foul out of play.
Well, you can understand, Harry, where George will be a little concerned. The Yankees, who everybody picked to win the division or at least contend with Toronto, just 12-13 in the early going. They've lost 4 in a row, 8 of their last 10, and they're 3.5 games back of Boston.
There's the pitch a little bit low. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Boy, how about that Kirk Gibson? Hitting last-minute home runs seems to be his thing. Lined into the stand. Hey, listen, being out here in the right field corner, a lot of foul balls are come this way. Don't worry, I'll protect you.
Okay, well, I'm waiting for you to do that. We could get some action up here.
Yeah. Swung. Bouncing ball. Sanchez, easy out.
Harry, the biggest news in baseball last night had to be the injury to Ken Griffey, who broke his wrist after a spectacular catch. And what a loss that is to Uncle Lou and the Seattle Mariners.
He made a sensational catch and broke his wrist. Trotted off the field, but they say he'll be out 2 or 3 months. And he'd been in a little slump. He was hitting only .248. But before he got hurt last night, he hit his 7th home run, had 2 out of 2, and apparently on his way. This is Darrell Whitmore, the center fielder. 1 homer this year, hitting only .152. The wind is blowing 50 miles an hour cross field. From right field to the left field corner.
Whitmore in a slump, didn't have the ball out of the infield yesterday. Last year hit just .227 at Florida, but of course limited action, just 9 games, 22 at bats. He hit .283 at Edmonton in AAA, but he hasn't been able to get on track here in the major leagues.
There's a fly ball in the left field. Out of play. And there's Wayne Larrivee in our super suite. Who's he talking to? Oh, from WGN Radio, David Kaplan. Ground ball. Quick throw. Got him. Nice play by Sanchez.
You have to be aggressive on this one. It's not hit hard, and Rey Sanchez comes in, the off-balance throw, and he gets him easily at first.
So 2 away. Only 1 man has gotten a hit off of Navarro, and that was a homer by Jerry Browne, his first of the year. Kurt Abbott doesn't have much of a average, but he hits a long ball for a shortstop. Hit his 4th homer yesterday.
He will swing at most anything. You don't have to throw a strike when you have him down 2 strikes. He struck out twice yesterday, but he's strong enough, and he took it the opposite way.
Swung, and he struck him out. 1, 2, 3. They go in the bottom of the 2nd. 1-0 Florida.
Chances are it will outlast your car and your furnace and your roof. There's no telling what your Moen faucet might outlast. Moen. Buy it for looks. Buy it for life.
Start a project with Minwax wood finish and turn new into treasured, secondhand into first-rate, ordinary into extraordinary. Because Minwax wood finish makes it easy to turn any project into a beautiful masterpiece. Minwax makes wood beautiful.
The Buick Park Avenue Ultra. Not only has it restored people's faith in the quality of American luxury cars, but it has a way of rejuvenating the soul as well.
The Krylon Touch
means making the old look new.
The Krylon Touch.
And the boring becomes beautiful. Show your true colors.
Don't just paint, give it the Krylon Touch.
Only with Krylon.
Dad?
Yeah?
There's something I want to tell you.
What is it, son?
Well, Dad, you're my dad. And I love you, man.
You're not getting my Bud Light, Johnny.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Ray, forget it, Johnny.
Harry Caray back at Wrigley Field as we go in the bottom of the second. 1-0 in favor of the Marlins. There is one of the great men of baseball, Andre Dawson, now with the Marlins. Here's a pitch of Grace. Strike call. The Mets lead San Francisco 5-0 at the end of 3. 1 ball, 1 strike on Grace. I see the Iowa team lost to Omaha last night. Strike 2 called. Orlando lost to Jacksonville. Daytona lost to Fort Myers. And Rockford lost them. There's a drive way back. The wind's going to hold it up. On another day, that would have been a home run. But the wind makes it tough to get one in right field.
Bad day to pull it today, and Mark Grace hit that ball right on the nose, but not quite far enough. Al Andrea of Grant Dean Buick on hand, as is Erwin Grossinger of Grossinger Buick, and Bill Hembro of Hembro Buick, on what's turned into a pretty nice day at Wrigley Field.
You know, the Cub pitching staff has allowed 33 home runs now in 28 games, including today. 1 out, nobody on. Here's Wilkins. John Burkett.
Burkett's changing speeds nicely. He's got a little slider he throws into the left-handers. Very good changeup. That fastball not overpowering, but he's hitting his spots, and so far he's moving the ball around very well.
Pitch inside. One out, nobody on.
Well, that changeup has been wonderful for Burkett so far. That time Wilkins swung over it. It's consistently around 77 miles an hour, just about between 9 and 11 miles an hour slower than the fastball.
Stroud came out with a fastball. And that's 5 in a row, 3 of them on strikes for John Burkett, who's won 3, lost 3 for this season. The sun trying desperately to break through the clouds, but temperature 59 degrees today. And the left field bleach is pretty well filled.
Now Dunston has hit Burkett pretty well. In fact, he's hit him probably better than any of the Cubs as a home run, hitting just under 300 against Burkett lifetime. So let's see if he gets a good swing at John today.
Strike call. Burkett has kept everything down low. Swung and he fouled it back. Dawson having a terrific year all the way around. Defensively, offensively, base running. Burkett. Oh, and 2 the count. Into the dirt, ball 1. Los Angeles and Montreal, no score in the bottom of the 4th. Pitch low, 2-2. The White Sox have taken a 1-0 lead over Detroit in the 5th.
Well, they've tried twice away with Dawson. Let's see if Burkett tries to sneak a fastball by him inside.
He smashed it. Nice play by Jerry Browne, who throws him out. 1-2-3. At the end of 2, 1-0 Marlins.
What do you get when you fly the low-fare airlines? Fun fares.
Well, you've waited so long for a fare to get so nice and low now. You really should fly.
Light up the night. Southwest Airlines' new fun fares are so low. Want to see that again? Now you can fly just for the fun of it.
Come along with us, 'cause we got a lot of things to do now. You really should fly. Have fun, 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 flying Southwest on a fun fair today. Fun, fun, flying on a fun fair.
Everybody thinks bigger is better, even at Burger King. They just did this taste test where the Whopper beat the Big Mac and Wendy's single. So why didn't they test the Whopper Junior? It's that bigger thing again. Come on, appetites come in all sizes. The Whopper Junior tastes the same as the Whopper. It's just as flame broiled. It's just as juicy. It's just Junior. One size fits all may work for tube socks, but not for burgers.
The Whopper Junior Value Meal for $1.99 at Burger King.
I'm Andy McPhail, the new president of the Chicago Cubs. It's my understanding that some people think of the Cubs as lovable losers. I'm told that through the years, that's what's made the team so popular. Well, I hate to think it's our job to make the team less popular. I prefer to think we can come up with some better reasons for people to like us.
Now is a great time to get a great deal on tires from Sears. Through May 31st, all tires are 5 to 20% off, including name brands like Goodyear, Michelin, Bridgestone, and more. All tires, all sizes, on sale now at Sears Auto Center.
Caray and Steve Stone from Wrigley Field, where the Marlins are leading 1-0.
Jerry Browne, not known as a Gold Glove, turns in a sparkling play here. This is a wickedly hit ball down there. He gets it across. He doesn't have the greatest arm in the world. And a good pickup on the other end by Colbrunn. So Pendleton getting the day off. And in his place, Browne getting some time at third base.
There's Charlie Johnson, whose home run was a decisive blow in the ball game.
I don't think you want to go inside on this guy unless you go way in. He's pretty strong.
There's a drive in the left field, a base hit.
And that's why you don't want to go inside on that guy unless you go way in, because he's able to turn on it. Yesterday, he took it out of the ballpark. Today, he rifled a shot to left field. From the Southwest Plainview camera, we'll take a look at a fastball that doesn't get in enough. And watch Johnson. Good quick hands, and this one had the inside part of the plate. And when you talk about going inside on a hitter like Johnson, you want to go about 6 inches inside, so if he does get it, he hits it foul.
John Burkett, the pitcher. Boy, they have a lot of low batting averages, but they're sure hitting the long ball.
And Burkett does have a sacrifice this year, and he's going to try to push it right at Mark Grace.
And the top of the batting order will be coming up. Johnson's homer came with the score tied in the 7th yesterday. Strike called. He was squared around the bunt.
Now that time, Mark Grace released very early. The Cubs have a play where Grace starts to release and then comes back to the bag. So Johnson's going to have to take a look at that.
Johnson will lead. Got a play at second base for one, over to first base. Wild into the dugout. Dunston. So the irony, they get the force on the bunt, but wind up with a man on second base as a result of the wild throw.
Good play by Mark Grace. Sean Dunston threw this ball flat-footed. Now watch Dunston. If you don't step, you're going to have a hard time. Now Dunston doesn't step, and because of that, he throws it away for his 4th error of the year. They want the shortstop to push away from the bag and take a step. Throwing flat-footed, you're going to get in trouble, and that's exactly what happened. So you're right, Harry. They got the play they wanted. The man still winds up at second base.
Dunston knew better than anybody else what a bad throw that was. It didn't go into the dugout. It went on top of the dugout into the stands. Reminiscent of mixes to Smalley to Addison Street. Remember those days?
Wasn't like Evers to Tinkers to Chance.
That's a story in itself. The greatest double play combination. So Flores. Stuff you read, Tinkers to Evers to Chance. Tinkers and Evers never talked to each other all through their stay with the ball club.
All they had to do was catch the ball on the throw.
They didn't like each other, didn't talk to each other, they were mad at each other, and yet they were a great double play combination. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
A Bullet has to be aware in left field, because when Veras goes that way, he usually just dumps it to left.
Right to Sanchez, easy out. And here's Jerry Browne, who hit the home run. Browne hitting only 154. Charlie Johnson hitting 148, led off the inning with a base hit. 2 out, a runner at third. Pitch a little outside. Jerry Browne's played the American League for years. So Navarro probably has pitched to him before.
And you certainly want to make it happen here. You don't want to get to Gary Sheffield. So Navarro's falling behind 2-0, has to make a tough pitch to Browne, but he's not near as dangerous as Sheffield normally is.
High ball, 3. Browne has spent 3 years with Texas, 3 years with Cleveland, 2 years with Oakland. He's in his 2nd year with the Marlins. Strike call. Hey, we can almost talk to the people on the rooftops. There's strike 2 call. Well, if we can broadcast from here, Arnie, there's no reason we can't broadcast off one of the rooftops. Oh, he could have called it strike 3, but didn't.
Cub fans, have you ever seen the inside of the Cubs clubhouse or actually stepped foot inside the Cubs dugout? Well, here's your chance to get a behind-the-scenes look at Wrigley Field. On Saturday, June 3rd, the Cubs will offer exclusive tours of Wrigley Field. See Harry Caray's booth, the skyboxes, and much more. Tickets are just $10, so for more information, call 312-404-CUBS.
Gary Sheffield, a tough hitter.
And let's hope that that walk to Browne doesn't come back to haunt Navarro. You're walking a relatively easy hitter to get to a very tough one.
Fastball outside. Tommy Gregg is next. He homered yesterday. He would have homered today except for the wind holding it up. That evens the count. Cubs have not had a base runner as yet. It gets away from the pitcher. Being the runner at third, was not able to score. That's a break there.
Well, this is a terrible base running play by John Burkett, who really could have helped himself. I don't know what he's thinking about at third base, but he's supposed to score easily on that one, and he's still at third. So the Cubs do get a break. It still goes as a pass ball, however, because on the play, Browne moved to second.
And there goes Wilkins out to talk to Navarro, which might indicate he was crossed up.
Could be. But I know one thing. He's got a 1-2 count on Sheffield, who seems to have moved a little closer to the plate.
Rey Latchman, the manager, comes trotting out.
I think he wants to keep Gary Sheffield in the game, and he wants to get between Sheffield and Hernandez. Sheffield was not happy with the call of Hernandez, and quickly Rey Latchman, knowing with Jeff Conine out of the lineup how important Gary Sheffield is to the lineup, wants to make sure he stays there.
Runners second and third, 2 out. Start of the swing held up. And now it's a 2-2 count, 2 out. Florida leading 1-0. Woo, a fastball high, 3-2. And Tommy Gregg, a good left-hand hitter's next. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Now they're going to walk him. But Harry, you don't think they try to slip one over the plate on Sheffield, do you? Nope.
Nope. Johnny Bench is the only catcher who does that.
You know what? I'll tell you something. They could have thrown a strike 3 by him because Sheffield was not prepared for it. We're going to show it to you again. And if Navarro decided to throw a fastball right down the middle, he might have caught him looking. Watch Sheffield. He couldn't swing at this one. He's ready to throw the bat away. And if he just throws a fastball down the middle, you could have found a very embarrassed and a very surprised Gary Sheffield.
So the bases are loaded. Let's pause for station identification.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN-TV, Chicago.
Boy, oh boy, that's a dessert cart here. That's the kind of stuff.
That's coming up here.
You ruin your weight with up here. Here's Gregg, and he's dangerous. Bases are loaded. Whoa, and the ball almost got away from Wilkins.
He did. He dropped it again, and Burkett this time taking a look in, but couldn't advance.
Bases are jammed. Ball 2, ball 1, 1 ball, 1 strike. Tommy Gregg, formerly with the Atlanta Braves. Last year played in the Mexican League. A high pop foul out of play. And he's ahead of him now. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, there's our Aflac trivia question. Which Cub finished his 67th season with a 9-0 record. I would have to say Abernathy or Cal Kuntz.
I'll say Abernathy.
1 ball, 2 strikes. It had to be a relief pitcher. A high pop foul again. And Navarro with a count of 1-2.
Now Navarro can throw the fastball right by Gregg if he can keep it inside and just under the Marlin logo. Let's see if Wilkins decides to go there or if he wants to go with the forkball.
Bouncing ball right to Grace to retire the side. And Navarro pitched out of a jam. No runs. 1 hit. 3 left. No errors. 1 error rather. And we go in the bottom of the 3rd. 1-0 Marlins.
This is L.A. We have tons of friends. This is Posh. This is my wife. This is my neighbor. This is my son-in-law. This is my very good neighbor. This is my number 2 daughter. Hey. This is my neighbor, John. When I found out that I needed surgery, it was kind of a shock.
Luckily, it turned out.
Aflac really helped protect our savings. Just really took the worry away.
Aflac covers the unexpected cost of getting better so you can get on with life.
Don is definitely not a dancer.
How race car driver Bill Elliott eats a Reese's peanut butter cup. Awesome. Clear. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's.
Little Hershey's Kisses, big chocolate taste.
The Bud Light Amateur Beach Challenge. They're lean. They're mean.
Ooh, they're killing us. Yeah. How about 2 out of 3? I got it.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down,
What's wrong with her?
make it a Bud Light.
WGN is proud to salute Chicago's Asian community during Asian American Heritage Month.
Harry Caray with Steve Stone and Thom Brennaman will be along after this half inning. Yeah, how about those Cubbies is right. We go in the bottom of the 3rd. The Cubs trailing 1-0, and Hojo Johnson leads it off.
Now Johnson has also swung the bat very well against Burkett over the course of his career, hitting .328 with a home run. Steve Buechele slumping somewhat, so Howard Johnson getting a chance to swing the bat, playing 3rd base today. And maybe Johnson can supply some much-needed power from the left side.
Johnson's only 2 out of 24. A .083 batting average. Switch hitter, good power.
Be careful, Harry. He could pull the ball right up here into your lap.
Now that wind will protect us. Swung and he missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. Frisco being beaten by the Mets 5-0 at the end of 4. Montreal leads the Dodgers 1-0 at the end of 5. He bunts it in the air, and that'll be an easy out. Johnson tried to bunt, but popped it in the air to Colbrunn. 1 gone. That is 7 in a row retired by John Burkett. He's got a perfect game so far, but we're only in the 3rd. White Sox leading 1-0 at the end of 5. There's a base hit for Scott Bullen. He bounces one into center field. Rounding first base, he stumbled.
I think he's hurt, Harry.
Yes, he is. Look at
They're
that.
calling out John Fierro as we'll take a look at the feet going
There
out
it is.
from under him, and looks like he might have hurt his knee. And John Fierro coming out in a hurry, as is Jim Riggleman. They want to see just exactly what's wrong, and Bullitt is not moving very well.
Apparently.
Looks like, Harry, it might be the grass. You know, we had a little rain here, and the grass might have been wet around first base as he went to make his turn, and now he's running a little better, so hopefully Scott Bullitt's going to be okay.
He's got the first base hit of this ball game for the Cubs. A single to center, and he's going to stay in there. Colbrunn pointing out where he slipped.
Well, Navarro has 2 sacrifices this year, and odds are they're going to try again here. And you want to bunt it at Colbrunn. He doesn't have a real good arm at first.
There's the bunt. The only play will be the first base. A sacrifice. And now it's up to McRae. McRae has been in a little bit of a slump. He's batting only .252. No homers, 5 RBIs.
And this is a different pitcher today than last time out for John Burkett. He went just 3 2/3 innings, giving up 6 hits and 4 earned runs against Atlanta at Atlanta, and that was his shortest outing of the year.
A tiny run at second base. Low and outside, ball 1. The Aflac trivia question. What's the answer? Ken Holtzman. Yeah. A little pop fly. That'll be easy. McRae pops out to Abbott. So, Tommy will be along in a moment. Harry Caray from Wrigley Field. We're at the end of 3. The Marlins 1. The Cubs nothing.
American families have made their choice. Once again, they've chosen the Buick LeSabre as Family Circle magazine's Family Car of the Year for reasons like safety, dependability, performance, and style. American families chose LeSabre as Family Car of the Year over every other sedan, foreign or domestic. Buick LeSabre, the American family car.
Everybody thinks bigger is better, even at Burger King. They just did this taste test where the Whopper beat the Big Mac and Wendy's single. So why didn't they test the Whopper Junior? It's that bigger thing again. Come on, appetites come in all sizes. The Whopper Junior tastes the same as the Whopper. It's just as flame-broiled. It's just as juicy. It's just Junior. One size fits all may work for tube socks, but not for burgers.
The Whopper Junior Value Meal for $1.99 at Burger King.
If a Cub hits a homer today, write down the distance, date, and your name and send it to WGN. You could win a pair of round-trip tickets from Southwest, the low-fare airline.
There's science, and then there's science. The Living Sea, now playing at the OmniMax Theater.
And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Alongside our producer and director, Arnie Harrison, Steve Stone, I'm Thom Brennaman back at Wrigley Field, Chicago. The rain beginning to fall, and the Cubs trailing 1-0. John Burkett looking pretty sharp so far.
And it's surprising because the Cubs have scored early over the last 10 games. Not so today, as John Burkett has been in control, Tommy, and much different than the last time out for Burkett.
Fly ball into left center field, sending McRae back to the warning track, and one away to begin the fourth. Jamie Navarro pitching out of that bases loaded jam, Stoney, and well, you had a rather novel idea about when Gary Sheffield was complaining to Angel Hernandez.
Well, it looked to me as they walked Gary Sheffield that he had the bat on his shoulder, wasn't prepared to swing. And remember the World Series when Raleigh Fingers threw the third strike over, I believe, to Johnny Bench. Could have been the same thing here, but they elected to walk him and take their chances, and they got Greg out.
Darrell Whitmore now settles in. First pitch swinging, fouls it away. He's down a strike. Whitmore getting a chance to play on a regular basis in center field right now due to the injury of Chuck Carr, their regular center fielder. Carr started his rehab assignment last night at their AAA team in Charlotte, North Carolina. 1-1 on Whitmore. He grounded to Rey Sanchez his first time up. On the ground and into right field, a hit for Whitmore.
This one just eludes Rey Sanchez at second base. He's got good range to his left, but can't come up with this one. And so for the first time in the series, Whitmore is aboard via the base hit. And Tommy, the rain is coming down a little bit harder.
Well, they had it in the forecast, of course, and we were hoping it would stay away to allow us to sneak this one in. But for the time being, the rain is falling down. Whitmore at first, Abbott the batter. He looks at the ball, and now joining us up here in the Super Suite is Cub General Manager Ed Lynch. And Eddie, I know we've had time to periodically get together, and you have to be very pleased about the way the ball club has started this season.
Yeah, they played very well, especially on the road, and you know, we've been getting solid starting pitching, and when you get your starters going into the 7th and 8th inning on a daily basis, you're going to win some games. So we're very happy with the pitching so far.
I think everybody's concerned about the health of Jim Bullinger. I know you put him on the disabled list. That allowed you to bring back Turk Wendell, but how is Bully, and when do you expect him back?
Well, he's okay. We don't think it's anything structural. We think he just has some muscular soreness, and we can backdate him to the day after the last time he pitched, which I believe was the 21st. So we gained some time there. So we'll just play it day by day, see how he develops. We think he'll be ready when his time is up on the DL to come back and rejoin the rotation.
And it looked like Mike Morgan picked up, Eddie, where everybody else had already started. He threw a very fine game, his 95 debut Thursday night or the other night against Cincinnati.
Yeah, he really did. His ball was really had a lot of movement on it. He threw strikes, got his breaking ball over, and he really pitched very well. He should have he pitched well enough to win it, but unfortunately we made some errors and he wound up getting a loss.
Is this the time of the year when most every general manager, Ed, is just kind of sitting back, still evaluating his own ball club and having his attention to the draft coming up? So you're not expecting to see a lot of movement right now with anybody?
Yeah, I would think so. I think it's still early to make any wholesale changes in any club in this league, but you know, I think it's unrealistic to expect that the same 25 guys are going to be on your club the entire year. But you know, as you said, we're just sitting back and in a process of evaluating everyone. I think 27 games is still not enough to make any definitive changes, but we're continuing to evaluate on a daily basis.
And I know you have the draft coming up on June 1st, the free agent draft of the college and high school players. You guys have the number 4 pick. You have to be pretty excited about getting a good ball player.
Yeah, you should get a pretty good pick at the number 4 slot. We'll get the 4th best amateur available theoretically, and you know, we're going to start our meetings today and talk about the hundreds and hundreds of players available. So we'll see what happens.
2-2 to count on Kurt Abbott. 1 on and 1 out, and Abbott hanging in there against Navarro, continuing to foul off pitches. Jimmy, I'm so used to asking Jim Riggleman. Ed, have your designs perhaps on 95 changed a little bit due to the club getting off to such a great start? Because let's be honest, I think a lot of us who saw the team last year figured they would not be playing nearly as well as they have so far. So with that in mind, now all of a sudden, are you upping the timetable thinking 95 could indeed be a championship season?
Well, it's still pretty early. Our goal coming into this year was to play as the best baseball we could on a daily basis, not look ahead, just try to play fundamentally sound baseball, not make mental mistakes, have our pitchers throw strikes, work quickly, and let the chips fall where they may. I'd have to say that a 17-10 start's better than we expected, but still it's too early, I think, to redesign our plans from the long term to the short term. But you know, we're going to do everything we can to make this club as good as we can on a daily basis without mortgaging our future. But, you know, if we get a chance to win as this season wears on, we're certainly as an organization going to look at every possibility existing to make this club a winner as soon as possible. So we'll just see how it shapes up as the summer goes on. We all know it's a very long year, but we're very pleased up to now.
2-2 to count on Abbott, 1 away, and Whitmore at first base. And a turn to throw to first. Eddie, there have been rumors that Kevin Mitchell is coming back to the United States. And I know everybody's been asking you about this. Any interest at all?
Well, first of all, he's still under contract with a Japanese club, from what I understand. So it would be tampering to talk about him. Mitch was a teammate of mine in New York 10 years ago. He's a guy who's had a lot of success in this league. But again, he's still under contract, from what I understand. I think he has supposedly jumped the club, so right. I really don't know what his status is, but when he becomes a free agent, if he ever does, then obviously our evaluations will change. But I wouldn't be too optimistic about adding someone like Kevin Mitchell to the Chicago Cubs.
Well, one of the men you did add and is under contract with the Cubs is Felix Jose, and has he shown you anything in AAA, Eddie, that would lead you to believe that he still has some play left for the major leagues?
Well, I was speaking with Jim Henry, who was giving me a daily report on his progress. He is, you know, he's a little out of shape because of the long layoff and the fact that he didn't get to play much at Kansas City, but we're going to give him a couple weeks to play himself back into shape and then make an evaluation then.
Let's watch the play by Howard Johnson. This is a rocket off the bat of Kurt Abbott. It comes up and Johnson plays it well. It's hit awfully hard. With a runner going, no chance at second base. He throws it across, and Navarro with 2 outs would like to get out of it by retiring Johnson. Eddie, you got to like Charles Johnson. He looks like he's going to be a pretty good player.
Well, I think we got him out of his slump. He had a home run yesterday, base hit today. So, yeah, I've seen Charles Johnson since high school in Fort Pierce, Florida. I saw him at the University of Miami, so I'm well aware of what he can do. I saw him in A-ball at Kane County a few years ago. He's a very, very good catch and throw guy. I think the question with him, as any young catcher, is whether he'll swing the bat enough to hang around and be a #1. So, as I said, I hope we're not getting him out of a slump.
Well, that one right underneath our booth.
As you're talking about his ability to swing the bat, I think he might be listening to you because he almost put one up in your lap here.
Eddie, I want to thank you for the time, taking the time to come by. Pleasure as always, and continued success. Things going very well.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Ed Lynch, Cubs general manager. And Eddie making a lot of the road trips this year and having a chance to see the club play regularly. And I know he'll be touring back through the minor leagues as this season goes on. And there is a rocket to the right side. Sanchez makes a fine play in shallow right field to take away a hit and the Marlins' second run. No runs, a hit, a man left. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Marlins still in front, 1-0.
Well, we took the colors that we really liked the best and took them into Sears, and they matched it perfectly for us.
Memorial Day weekend is perfect for painting, which means it's time for Sears Memorial Day paint sale.
One coat does this.
Every color, every brand, up to half off. Like either of these interior or exterior flat paints, save 50%.
With Weather Beater, I think we'll sell the house before we paint again.
The huge Memorial Day paint sale at Sears and Sears hardware stores.
People at Sears really made it easy for us.
Auto Show concept cars. Cars with exciting features like supercharged engines. Finally, someone's built one for you. Introducing the 1995 Riviera with an available supercharged engine that breathes deep for maximum power. It's amazing what a breath of fresh air can do. The all-new Riviera by Buick. What a concept.
My complexion was embarrassing. I just wanted to hide in the dark. Yuck. I tried regular cleansers, even not so regular ones. I was desperate. I wished every day was Halloween.
The first step to getting clear is to get clean, and Clearasil Daily Face Wash helps eliminate bacteria. It gets rid of more dirt.
It worked great, but I still like the dark. For other reasons.
Clearasil Daily Face Wash, the cleaner cleanser.
Sport Mart has the low price on everything you're looking for. Like the Franklin batting glove for right or left hand in black, red, or royal, just $7.97. Buy a pair for $12.94 and save $3. If you find Franklin for less anywhere else, we'll give you double the difference back.
Well, we are back at Wrigley Field, Chicago, broadcasting today from the Wrigley Field Super Suite. And this is some kind of track, Stoney.
We talked to John McDonough, and you can rent this on a daily basis if you have a party and enough friends to come on up here and take advantage of it. The view is sensational. The food is excellent. As we speak, we are being served a literal cornucopia of sweet delights.
And Stoney, if there's anybody I know in the world that can dig into the sweet stuff with the best of them, you are the guy. And your waistline beginning to show it. Rey Sanchez leading off the inning.
Now, do you think in this particular chocolate-covered turtle there is any type of caloric content, Tommy boy?
Well, I want you, Stoney, and believe me, this guy could eat. He could finish this whole thing in no time at all.
Well, I'm more interested in the health berries there, Tommy, than this sweet stuff. There's a couple of raspberries and blackberries there that I know are very healthy for you, give you fiber. And, you know, it's Stephen F. Stone, Tommy. The F is for fiber.
Got to go with HF. High fiber.
High fiber.
Here's the pitch. And Sanchez fouls it away. He's down 1-2.
They have turned the lights on as it's darkened up somewhat around Wrigley Field. Rain is falling, but right now it seems to have slackened up, and you see the lights on and John Burkett rolling along. But through the heart of the order, the second time around, the Cubs trying to make something happen right here.
Last season, Burkett, a 6-8 record, a 3.62 ERA. The irony of that earned run average, it was actually lower than Burkett's 22-win season in 1993, then of course with the Giants.
He had some thunder behind him in those days with San Francisco, however. He pitched great, but he had some guys who could hit the ball.
There's a liner into left field, going to be caught by Tommy Gregg for out number 1.
Pretty good play by a man who has played a lot of first base during the course of his career. This sinking liner looked like it was going to fall in, but Tommy Gregg got a good jump on the ball and made a nice play. So with Jeff Conine out of the lineup with a tender hamstring and limited to pinch hitting duties, Tommy Gregg is trying to reestablish himself in the major leagues and show Rene Latchman that even when Conine comes back, that he could be a valuable man for this team.
Gregg has always been able to hit, but injuries have held him back the last 3-4 years. He was leading the International League in hitting this season when they brought him up, and already has clubbed a couple of home runs. 1-1. Perfect pitch on the outside corner, and Sosa's down in the count at 1 ball and 2 strikes. The only run of the game in the first inning. A solo home run to left field by Jerry Browne, his first this season. Marlins left the bases loaded in the 3rd, and Burkett may look back when then as a runner in the 3rd inning. Ball got away from Rick Wilkins. Burkett was standing at 3rd, came all the way back to the bricks, and Burkett didn't move.
I don't think he realized, Tommy, the ball had gotten away. It was not a good base running mistake, and it could certainly come back to haunt him.
Sammy drills one to right center, but there's Sheffield. 2 away.
And that's what Burkett is trying to do with Sosa today. He's going to force him to hit the ball to right and right center field. He knows as well as anybody that the jet stream today is out toward left center and down the line and left. Sammy is a pull hitter, and he wants to make sure that Sammy goes the other way, and he has 2 straight times.
Mark Grace lined to Sheffield on the warning track in right field his first time up. Cubs have only managed 1 hit against John Burkett. He retired the first 7 in the game, and Scott Bullitt had a single into center field. Two and 0 to Grace. Fouled out of play. 2-1. Mark coming in, hitting at .295. 5 home runs and 20 knocked in. You know, Stoney, you brought up a week ago you expected the pitching to start getting a little stronger around baseball, and that indeed it has. About a week and a half ago, only 2 teams in the National League had earned run averages under 4. Now all of a sudden you have 5 teams in the National League better than that, with the Dodgers and Montreal closing in fast.
Well, you knew, Tommy, that the real good pitchers would start to get arm strength, which means that not only would the fastball come in a little faster, but it would move more. The breaking ball would have a little more bite to it. And the hitters had a picnic the first probably 20 games of the season. Now it's going to get a lot tougher.
In the air to straightaway center field, over into left center now. Whitmore, and he makes a grab, crashes into the wall. And yes, there's Ivy there, but hiding underneath, nothing but brick. And you see the pain in Whitmore's face. He made a fine catch to end the inning. Take one more look. Made the grab and then bang the head into the wall. Marlins still lead 1-0.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN is brought to you by your local Buick dealers, the new symbol for quality in America.
The Buick Park Avenue Ultra. Not only has it restored people's faith in the quality of American luxury cars, but it has a way of rejuvenating the soul as well.
Planning a family project this weekend? Get hip to the Square.
Builder's Square is a stop that gets your project going. Painting the house, building a backyard playground, landscaping, any spruce up or fix up at all. This week, get a great square deal on a Sunbeam 35,000 BTU gas grill featuring side burner, heavy-duty cart frame, and more. Builder's Square.
We'll get you squared away.
Now is the best time to get your car ready for summer with new tires from Sears. Through May 31st, they're all on sale at savings of 5 to 20%. No matter what you drive, remember, with names like Goodyear, Michelin, Bridgestone, and Road Handler, no one can match Sears' selection and unbeatable low prices. And by staying open late evenings and Sundays, Sears makes your tire buying as easy as possible. All tires, all sizes, all 5 to 20% off. Get to Sears Auto Center today.
Illinois Instant Riches just got more exciting with brand new games. Illinois Instant Riches, tonight at 6:30 on WGN.
1-0 ball game as we move to the 5th inning here at Wrigley Field, Chicago. Good pitchers duel going on today. Navarro of the Cubs, Burkett from the Marlins. Of course, a terrible news last night in Seattle. Ken Griffey Jr. making a miraculous catch in the right center field alley, but broke his left wrist in the process. Undergoing surgery today, and Kenny, we send out our best for a speedy recovery.
Darrell Whitmore is fortunate. The same thing could have happened to him because that was a nasty collision with the wall. And he came away, held on to it, and he appears to be okay. But we send the best to Ken Griffey. It's a terrible break.
John Burkett reached on a fielder's choice and then a throwing error by Sean Dunston. He was stranded at third, along with Jerry Browne at second and Gary Sheffield at first. And Tommy Gregg bounced to Grace to end the inning. 1-2 on Burkett. Kevin Foster will take the ball tomorrow. He'll be opposed by right-hander David Weathers, and we'll have it for you right here on GN. 2-2. Rain continuing to fall here at Wrigley Field, Chicago. And hit down the right field line. Sammy, a long run, and he can't get to it. You can join Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins, Steve Traxel, Brian McRae, Scott Bullitt, and a host of Cubs players and coaches for the 4th annual All-Star Kids Clinic Tuesday, July 11th, sponsored by Dial Soap. Here's your chance to go on the field, run the bases, learn hitting, pitching, fielding from the pros. Plus, every youngster attending the clinic receives a Cubs sports bag filled with prizes. The All-Star Kids Clinic, just $10 it costs. 312-404-CUBS, the number to dial for more information. And you'll want to do that immediately.
July 11th is the date of the All-Star game.
We'll be playing the next night, a one-game series, if you will, in Montreal. Burkett hanging in there. It remains at 2-2.
After today's game, 3 more left on the homestand. Florida tomorrow afternoon, and then Atlanta comes in for a split series. They will play Monday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon, off day on Tuesday, and plenty of seats available for those games.
Burkett making Jamie Navarro work here to open the 5th inning. Went to 2-2, and now Burkett has fouled off 4 straight Navarro pitches. Jamie allowed the first inning home run to Jerry Browne, the only run of the game. Sanchez next to the bag, throws on to Grace, and Burkett retired. 1 away.
Already a busy day for Rey Sanchez at second base. He's had 5 plays, and we're not through the 5th inning.
Top of the order now for the Marlins. It'll be Quilvio Veras. 0 for 2. He has bounced to Sanchez and grounded to Dunston. Cubs will see these Marlins again next weekend at Joe Robbie Stadium. Have a 1-game set next Thursday against Philadelphia, 3 in Miami against the Marlins, and then a 3-game series at Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. And boy, are the Braves rolling.
And I think what's surprising, Tommy, is the Cubs have always had a real hard time with the Marlins. 23 times they've squared off, and the Marlins have won 13 of them.
1-1 to Veras. Takes it high, 2-1. Waiting on deck is Jerry Browne.
Atlanta has won 8 of their last 10, but they still trail Philadelphia by 3.5 games. Philadelphia at 20-7.
Only team in the major leagues to reach a 20-win mark. And conversely, the Marlins, the first team in all of baseball to reach 20 losses.
Both Philadelphia and the Cubs doing a great job on the road. Philadelphia 12-3, the Cubs 13-4.
Of course, the Cubs enter play today 1 game better than Cincinnati. Reds 4-3 come from behind victors last night against St. Louis. Dunston off 1 hop, throws, and did they get him? No, they didn't. Grace had to pick that ball out of the dirt. And now Jim Riggleman will race out from the Cubs' third base side dugout to have a word with first place umpire Tom Hallion.
And Tommy, somewhere along the line, Sean Dunston is going to have to stop throwing flat-footed from shortstop. He threw flat-footed earlier on the double play, and he threw it away. He was flat-footed again at shortstop and didn't get anything on the throw. Veras runs very well. Riggleman does not like the call of Tom Hallion, but he is called safe at first. And watch Dunston here. He takes a short step forward, and we'll watch the play at first. It's really hard to tell. I think Tom Hallion might have set his foot off the bag. From that angle, looked like he was out by a half step. And you see Sean just trying to ease it across instead of throwing it. Looked like he had him, Tommy.
Sure did. And now you put on the second best base stealer in the entire National League in Quilvio Veras. Deion Sanders of the Reds with 15 stolen bases. Veras 2 fewer than Deion. And they pitch out, and Veras not running. He had a base stolen in yesterday's game, but he went in head first and went by the bag, and Dunston kept the tag down alertly and got him.
Sean did a good job that time on staying right with Veras, and his momentum took him across the bag. Dunston got the out.
Jerry Browne homered to left field in the first inning. He drew a walk in the third. Browne has always been a very dependable player going back to his days with the Cleveland Indians. Had a good year with the Marlins last season. Has struggled early in '95. And it seems like Browne's been around forever, Stoney, yet he's only 29.
What he gives the Marlins is versatility. He can play the outfield. He can play all over in the infield. And he's accounted for the only run of the day. So now you start thinking about the stolen base if you're Rick Wilkins. Navarro's got to speed it up to home.
3-0. Jerry Browne, a native of the Virgin Islands in St. Croix. Three and one.
Well, if Navarro's been holding a good move back, this is the time to use it at first base.
Marlins in front, 1-0. Veras at first base with one out. And the 3-1 to Jerry Browne. There goes the runner, and the pitch is swung on and fouled away. So Veras will make the U-turn, and you figure he'll be running again at 3-2.
Rusty Kuntz, the first base coach, and they usually tell the base runner, make sure the ball is delivered. Because this is a good time for a pickoff move, knowing that you're probably going to get the base runner leaning the other way.
3 balls, 2 strikes, short lead by Veras, and there he goes, and it's grounded to Dunston. He'll look at second, no play there, and throws out Browne at first. So with the runner going, the Marlins avoid the double play, and Veras slow to get up at second base.
Now you have a choice once again. You can pitch around Gary Sheffield and take your chances with Tommy Gregg. That's what happened in the third inning. Or you can try to pitch to one of the league's most dangerous hitters.
Well, in this Marlin lineup, there is no way I let Gary Sheffield beat me.
Well, I think, Tommy, that you should always take one man and try to neutralize him if possible. And the one man in this lineup, especially with Jeff Conine out of the lineup, is every time you get a chance, don't let Sheffield swing the bat.
Gary Sheffield drawing his 27th walk of the season.
Well, he's going to draw a lot more until they get some pretty good protection behind him.
What a 92 year Sheffield had, coming from Milwaukee to San Diego. Led the league in hitting at .330. Made a run at the Triple Crown, you may remember. Had 33 home runs and 100 knocked in. Tommy Gregg, another chance. He flied to right field, ending the first, left the bases loaded on a ground ball to Grace in the third. He has 2 on, 2 out. Top of the 5th inning, and the Marlins holding a 1-0 lead. Strike one. Good speed on the bases for the Marlins. Sheffield at first, Veras at second. And the 0-1 pitch. Had a good cut, but now Navarro in front of 0-2, and Gregg would like to have that one back.
And Navarro has been made to work here today, despite the fact that there's only 1 run scored. Jamie has thrown 97 pitches. That's a lot of work through 5.
2 on, 2 out. No balls, 2 strikes. Tried the fastball in and missed. Sheffield and Veras aboard. 2 away. 1 ball, 2 strike pitch to Tommy Gregg. And he popped it up. Foul ground, third base side. Johnson will give it a look, but it's out of play.
That's where Navarro would like to throw Gregg if he could. He'd like to throw a high fastball. He'd like to keep it inside, tie him up. And he won't be able to get around on it as long as it's around the Marlin logo or a little higher. Right across the letters, maybe even a little higher than that. And he'll get him.
The Marlins are trying to add to a 1-0 lead. They have Veras at second, Sheffield at first, 1 and 2 to Tommy Gregg. And it's on the ground at Dunston. Made a nice play on a bad hop, and the inning is over. 1 hit, 2 men left. We played 4 1/2 at Wrigley Field, Chicago. Marlins 1, Cubs 0.
Got a car that needs work? Getting it done just got a whole lot easier. Introducing the Pep Boys credit card. Get it and use it the day you apply. For tires, accessories, parts, and service. There's no annual fee and no interest or no payments for 90 days. The easiest place to find what you need is now the easiest place to buy it. The new Pep Boys credit card. Charge it at Pep Boys and drive away happy.
I don't need some fancy cologne to tell me I'm a man. I use Skin Bracer. It smells great, but it also cools and tones my skin. Confidence is very sexy, don't you think?
Original and cooling blue.
By Menon.
This is WGN Chicago.
Thinks bigger is better. Even at Burger King. They just did this taste test where the Whopper beat the Big Mac and Wendy's single. So why didn't they test the Whopper Junior? It's that bigger thing again. Come on, appetites come in all sizes. The Whopper Junior tastes the same as the Whopper. It's just as flame broiled. It's just as juicy. It's just Junior. One size fits all may work for tube socks, but not for burgers.
The Whopper Junior Value Meal for $1.99 at Burger King.
Thom Brennaman, Steve Stone, Harry Caray back at Wrigley Field, Chicago. Marlins hold a 1-0 lead. Cubs batting against John Burkett. It'll be Wilkins, Dunston, and Johnson. The only man to reach came in the third on a 1-out single by Scott Bullitt.
That one just missed down the line as Wilkins got out ahead of it, bidding for a double down the first base line, but just foul. In the second inning, Wilkins took a fastball down the middle. He was looking for an off-speed pitch, and it's tough to outguess Burkett because he's got 3 very good pitches.
And a very smart pitcher.
No doubt about that, Tommy, and that straight change for him today has been terrific. And again, you're looking for the off-speed pitch, and you take a fastball that caught a good portion of the plate inside. So now Wilkins in quite a hole at 0-2. And it's tough to outguess a pitcher. If he's got 3 pitches, he can get over the plate.
Burkett, an outstanding pickup for these Marlins. They may not contend this year, but he's going to be around for a few more seasons. That ball in the air to right. Easy play for Gary Sheffield, and Wilkins is retired. Cubs had some good swings against Burkett in that 4th inning. Sanchez line to left, Sammy line to right, and then Grace that liner into left center, and Whitmore made a fine grab crashing into the ivy.
Now normally you'd think about Sean Dunston laying down a bunt, but the wind is blowing so briskly to left field, and Dunston is a home run guy on this club. You see Browne a step in back of the bag at third, and Sean has always gotten good swings at Burkett.
Strike 1. See the wind blowing out toward left center, the left field line. And that's where Browne hit one out back in the first inning. Little roller through the mound. And close play at first, but Veras throws out Dunston. 2 away.
Veras has not made an error this year. They had Brett Barbary at second base last year, and Barbary gave him a decent bat, but he can't cover near the ground of Veras, nor is he as accurate with the arm. Veras makes a fine play. Dunston out by a half step at first on a ball that went right back through the legs of Burkett.
I think Jim Riggleman asked Sean Dunston, Stoney, as he came back to the dugout, if he was all right, because he didn't appear to be getting up the line as fast as we've seen him in the past.
I still believe that he's not 100%, Tom, because if he was, we would see a few more stolen base attempts, and we've seen Dunston go on the hit and run, but we haven't seen him go on the straight steal. And normally he's pretty aggressive on the base paths.
On the outside edge, strike one to Johnson, who tried to put down a bunt his first time up, and he popped it up right at Greg Colbrunn, the first baseman. Johnson in search of his first extra base hit, wearing a Cub uniform, and his first RBI. Two and one. The rain still lightly falling here at Wrigley Field. You can tell the glare off of Johnson's helmet. Very dark, dreary day, and the lights have been turned on for better than 3-4 innings now. Strike two.
Just about the time you think that Burkett's going to go with that changeup away, he zips the fastball on the inside corner.
Two-two pitch. And Burkett wanted that call from Angel Hernandez. He didn't get it, so a full count.
I gotta believe he's going to be changing speeds on Howard Johnson right here as we take a look in at Charles Johnson. Arnie, if you'll stay there, we'll try to let you know what's coming. That's the changeup, folks. Here it comes.
And he fouled it away. Well, you come back with it again.
Arnie's going to let us know exactly what Charles Johnson wants.
Wait a minute, is Arnie calling the pitches now?
No, he's not. He's just giving us an insight into the mind of a young catcher with a veteran pitcher on the mound.
And another changeup. Howard stayed away, and he is aboard. So Burkett, who retired the first 7 of the game before allowing a single to Bullitt, retires the next 7 and now walks Johnson.
Now Johnson can run, but he hasn't run this year. One of the things that he has maintained is pretty good speed, although he has yet to attempt a stolen base. Cubs 14 out of 21 in the stolen base department, and the only man to break through against Burkett today is standing in the batter's box.
Bullitt a single in the 3rd inning. First pitch swinging, and Veras throws him out to retire the side. No runs, no hits. 1 man left. We go to the 6th. Marlins 1, Cubs nothing.
We'd like to remind you that whenever you make it a blockbuster night, you never need a babysitter. The parking is always free. The atmosphere is as casual as the dress code. And you always get the best seat in the house. With over 9,000 blockbuster videos to choose from, we'd like you to remember that when it comes to a great night with the family, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Make it a blockbuster night.
How librarian Harriet Cosby eats a Reese's peanut butter cup.
I eat them as quietly as I can.
There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's.
Why do Hershey's Kisses have little flags on top? It makes them more charming. Little Hershey's Kisses, big chocolate taste.
Oh, hi. What do you have?
Myself, I had the goulash, I had the fries, I had the cheesecake, and now I'll have the Tums. Tums has calcium.
Many antacids don't. These have aluminum and magnesium. So do these. Tums helps knock out heartburn and gives you calcium.
Something your body needs anyway. So what do you have? Have the goulash, have the fries, have the cheesecake, and have...
Tums. I don't need some fancy cologne to tell me I'm a man. I use Skin Bracer. It smells great, but it also cools and tones my skin. Confidence is very sexy. Don't you think?
Original and cooling blue.
By Menon.
1-0 ball game. Marlins in front on a solo home run in the opening frame by Jerry Browne. So now the Marlins will come to bat in the 6th against Jamie Navarro, and they'll send up Greg Colbrunn, Darrell Whitmore, and Kurt Abbott. Cubs have managed only 1 hit against John Burkett, and the offense has been a problem since coming back home from Colorado.
Well, Tommy, the Cubs have a higher batting average at home than they do on the road, surprisingly. But the big difference is 5.5 runs averaged on the road, 4 runs averaged here at home. Today, the offense has been dormant. And if you're Navarro on the mound with Burkett as an opponent today, you don't want Colbrunn pulling the ball in this situation.
Thus, Wilkins sets up away, and he gets strike 1. Well, the game on Thursday night against Cincinnati, Cubs got a run in the first inning, a run in the second inning, didn't score again. Yesterday, 3 runs, 4 hits in the first inning, no runs, 4 hits, no runs, 6 hits over the next 8. And today, they've been blanked on the lone Scott Bullitt single back in the 3rd inning. One and 2 to Colbrunn. Hammered into left center, but McRae there. Later tonight on WGN, a man convicted of murdering his family escapes from prison in order to kill again. Jane Seymour, Gregory Harrison star in Angel of Death. Tonight at 10:30 on WGN, Channel 9.
They should be running Doppelganger again.
And why is that?
Well, they run that 4 or 5 times, I think, already. That in the Snake Eater series. You got to stay glued, Tommy, because they all connect to one another.
They really do. 1-1 the count on Darrell Whitmore. Tomorrow afternoon, leadoff man gets underway at 1 o'clock. It'll be David Weathers, a young right-hander of the Marlins, against Kevin Foster. And the Marlins will get out of town, and the Atlanta Braves come in.
There's Kevin Foster. And when the Braves do come in, Tommy, we're going to miss Greg Maddux. And that's not going to make anybody feel too bad. You got Tom Glavine and Steve Avery.
That makes you feel real good. 2 and 2.
But not many soft spots in that rotation. So although you'd like to maybe get some guys and miss them, you can't miss them all.
Nope.
You're going to get some good arms regardless of who you get. Going to be our first look at a man that I believe is going to be the Rookie of the Year, Chipper Jones. And he's off to a good start, driving in a lot of runs. He's got 7 home runs already.
Had 3 hits last night.
And so they keep bringing him up out of the farm system for the Braves. And they're a pretty impressive lot so far.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Hit down the left field line, but out of play. However, having said that, and all the talent the Atlanta Braves have had the last 4 or 5 years, they have still not won the World Series. And if they don't win it this year, word is there will be numerous changes made. A highly talented club that just can't get over the major obstacle.
Well, somewhere along the line, I got to believe that John Scherholtz is going to be in the market for a stopper. And it's something that they haven't had consistently. They've had some guys for a time, Tommy, that have come in and done a nice job out of the bullpen at the end.
Sanchez can't get to this one. And that'll be a base hit for Darrell Whitmore, his second of the afternoon.
Whitmore very quiet yesterday, but today a couple of hits, and Rey Sanchez has this one slide off the glove. Just missing it after turning in a sparkling play earlier.
You know, I want to make the point, don't get me wrong, any club in baseball, maybe with the exception of the Toronto Blue Jays, would take the 4 or 5 year run the Atlanta Braves have made. Been to postseason, 2 World Series, but now they're thirsty for more in Atlanta.
What? The Turk is up and throwing, back in the big leagues. Jim Bullinger on the disabled list. Turk Wendell back in the bullpen.
Popped up shallow left center field. Dunston out, being called off, and Bullitt is there for the second out of the inning. Whitmore back to first base. Stoney, you brought it up yesterday. We thought Tuffy Rhodes would be picked up immediately, or actually I guess Thursday night you talked about it. Sure enough, the Boston Red Sox signed Tuffy yesterday.
And he'll come in handy as a 4th or 5th outfielder with Boston. Navarro due up first in the 6th inning, and with Wendell throwing, you'd have to figure with the pitch count where it's at, this might be it for Navarro.
Better be careful here with Johnson. And it's hit hard down to third. Howard Johnson throws for the force at second, and they get the runner. Good play by Hojo. 1 hit, 1 man left. You get another look on this forced play to end the inning. Cubs still trail by 1.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN is brought to you by Mountain Dew. Those who dare, do.
How domino champ Charlie Armstrong eats a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
Yeah.
There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's.
How did Hershey's Kisses find the perfect place to live? It had their name written all over it. Little Hershey's Kisses, big chocolate taste.
Planning a family project this weekend? Get hip to the Square.
Builder's Square is a stop that gets your project going. Painting the house, building a backyard playground, landscaping, any spruce up or fix up at all. This week, get a great square deal on a Sunbeam 35,000 BTU gas grill featuring side burner, heavy-duty cart frame, and more. Builder's Square.
We'll get you squared away.
2 hours of back-to-back action. Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, and Vanishing Sun. Sunday at 6 on WGN.
Marlins in front of the Cubs 1-0. Last of the 6 coming up. John Burkett tossing a masterpiece thus far. He has only allowed 1 hit, a 3rd inning single to center field by Scott Bullitt.
And Ozzie Timmons is coming on a pinch hit. Navarro did a fine job today, but to the moment at least outpitched by Burkett. So Timmons comes in 1 for 4 with a couple driven in as a pinch hitter. He'll lead it off and will go to the top of the order.
Timmons has seen very little playing time. Takes ball 1. They appeal, and the umpire up there, Tom Hallion, said he went around, so it's actually strike 1. Hit hard into deep left field, and Timmons has tied the game with a home run. Ozzie Timmons, a bomb to left field, his first major league home run, and it's a 1-1 game.
Ozzie came in just in time to get one up in the wind, but that ball went a long way. It doesn't matter which way the wind's blowing when you hit him that far, and Ozzie Timmons has gone way back. So now 2 for 5 as a pinch hitter. He's driven in 3. This an important one. It's got Navarro off the hook. It's gotten the Cubs tied up, and now they move to the top of the order.
That's one they ought to throw back just so Ozzie can have it. First major league home run. Congratulations, Ozzie Timmons.
And we will find out shortly, Tommy, how far did it fly? Had to be 600 feet. Maybe a little less.
Let's back out for his station ID on the Cubs Baseball Network.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN-TV, Chicago.
Ozzie Timmons, his first major league home run. It comes in a pinch hitting role to lead off the 6th. And now we start over. It's a 1-1 game. 2-2 to Brian McRae, who is 0 for 2. He has struck out and popped to second base.
From the Southwest Plainview camera, we'll take a look at a very powerful swing and a wonderful result. And there is the Southwest Airlines Plainview camera.
Chopper foul wide of third. It remains at 2-2 on McRae, who right now is going through his first slump of the season. Brian 1 of 10 during the first 2 games of this homestand. And now into our 3rd game, and the Cubs in search of their first win. Fouled away.
That shook them up in the bullpen for the Marlins. If they were at all napping down there, that'll keep them awake. There's a look at Ozzie Timmons. You'd never know it, but he's got to be a happy young man.
And McRae is not. He is struck out for the 2nd time in the game. 4th overall for John Burkett.
And let's watch it again. And how far did it fly? 400 happy feet.
It's only 200 shy of what you predicted.
Well, it looked like about 600. Don't forget, you know, we are far down the line in right field. It's very hard to gauge the distance of some of those longer drives. I think I hit the ball 320 yards every time.
No, the only time you're not sure how far you hit it is when you smoke one down the middle, and then you turn to Mr. Santo and say, I didn't see that. Where'd it go? Sanchez hits one down the left field line, and Tommy Gregg runs out of room. 0-2. That's a cruel trick you pull on Mr. Santo, because we know that he never knows where it goes after it leaves the tee.
Well, when I play golf with Ronnie, it's always an interesting contest, Tommy, because you can count on 4 or 5 3-putts from Ronnie. And usually things work out after that. But he's quite a competitor, I will say that for him.
You're a bad guy, Stoney. Bad guy. 1-2 now on Sanchez.
You don't find many golfers, Tommy, wearing a complete Cub uniform, hat, spikes, everything else when he goes to the course.
But we know one. Veras makes a nice play to his left and throws out Sanchez for the 2nd out of the inning. Ozzie Timmons, who had 22 home runs last season at AAA Iowa, and has been in a platoon in left field to begin this season with Scott Bullock. And being a right-handed batter, of course, you don't see many lefties, so he hasn't had many opportunities. But a big one today, a home run to left field to tie the game.
And the fans up and cheering for the man some call Sam. Burkett's had him hitting the ball to right and right center, and he's going to try to stay away from Sammy again here. Try to make him do it again.
Strike one. 0-2. And Burkett continues to work that outside corner against Sosa. Cubs and Marlins tied at 1. Turk Wendell will take over. And there's strike 3. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. 1 run, 1 hit. Ozzie Timmons, a pinch hit home run. Harry Caray to carry the rest of the way through. It's a 1-1 affair.
When you gotta get there this afternoon, Southwest has a flight that's leaving soon. Or if you like to fly by the light of the moon, Southwest has a flight that's leaving soon. You got places to go and people to see, Southwest has a flight that's leaving soon. Tune into that Southwest frequency, not just a low-fare airline. Catch a flight that's leaving soon. Southwest is the low-fare airline. Little word, big difference.
Everybody thinks bigger is better, even at Burger King. They just did this taste test where the Whopper beat the Big Mac and Wendy's single. So why didn't they test the Whopper Junior? It's that bigger thing again. Come on, appetites come in all sizes. The Whopper Junior tastes the same as the Whopper. It's just as flame-broiled. It's just as juicy. It's just Junior. One size fits all may work for tube socks, but not for burgers.
The Whopper Junior Value Meal for $1.99 at Burger King.
A participating advertiser in Cubs baseball is CarQuest Auto Parts Store, supplying over 130,000 top quality parts. Call 1-800-492-PART for the nearest location.
Excuse me, is that Ace 7-Star satin paint that you're holding?
Why, yes it is Ace 7-Star Satin. During Ace Paint Days, this durable one-coat coverage paint is on sale for just $13.97 a gallon. Because Ace makes it, your satisfaction's guaranteed. But you gotta hurry. Ace Paint Days end soon.
Need a lift?
Nah. I'm waiting for a bus.
If you're worried about the future, plant a tree today. They cool our cities and protect us from the cold winter winds.
Why don't you plant a tree, too? Trees for America.
Caray and Steve Stone and Thom Brennaman, Steve Ozzie Timmons. What a pinch hit he got.
Well, coming off the bench is the toughest thing, but especially for a young man, and he tied up the ball game at 1. So, Harry, not much offense today, but the Cubs would certainly like to break that 2-game losing streak.
The irony of it, Timmons only used against left-handers. Today, as a pinch hitter, he's using, let's say, right-hander and hits a home run. That tells you something about the platoon system. We go into the top of the 7th.
Turk Wendell is on the mound, and after some rehab stints, some minor league pitching, Turk back in the big leagues out of the bullpen.
And boy, it hasn't taken Turk long to get in there. Burkett leading it off. 2 balls and the strike. Nice play, by Hojo. He backhanded the ball, and as he started to throw, he dropped it. There'll be an error. Well, there's a go-ahead run on.
Howard's had a good day defensively, but this time the ball just slips out of the glove. That's his 4th error of the year. And now Turk Wendell, who does throw sinkers and does get ground balls, is going to have to try to pitch through it. You've got to watch the bunt here from Veras, who's tried it a couple of times, but he's been unsuccessful, and that's what Turk did last year, where he really struggled here. His career marks, not very impressive, but he's got pretty good stuff.
There's a pitch, he bunts. The only play will be the first base, where Sanchez is covering. So they have the go-ahead run on at second base with 1 out. And Browne and Sheffield coming up.
Well, Harry,
there you see Tony Muser behind Jim Riggleman.
If they can get by Browne, they're going to do what they've done to Sheffield all afternoon, not pitch to him. So the key man here becomes Jerry Browne. You retire him, get by Sheffield, take your chances with Tommy Gregg.
So Jerry Browne accounted for their only run, a homer in the first. His first of the year. 1 ball, no strikes.
Pretty good stop by Rick Wilkins as he saves a wild pitch.
Burkett at second base with 1 away. Turk Wendell, his first appearance of the year. And Jeff Brown hits the ball, tried to stop his swing. The ball rolled out to Wendell, who looked towards third to see if Burkett was trying to advance, and then threw Brown out at first.
Well, now I think what you do is you walk Sheffield, and now you've got Hickerson loosening up, but the sign that Riggleman just made to the bullpen was for Hickerson to relax, so maybe they will allow Wendell to face Gregg. We'll have to see, but there's no chance for Gary Sheffield here today.
Two balls, no 3 balls now, no strikes on the intentional pass. Gregg due to be the next hitter. And Sheffield is walked. That's the 3rd intentional pass.
And Harry, you remember the Pittsburgh game. We're checking on how many times Pittsburgh walked Andre Dawson when he was in the middle of a hot streak.
5 times, I think.
Was it 5 walks of Andre Dawson?
Yeah.
We're checking it out. And Andre Dawson, of course, a member of the Florida Marlin team. And now a big meeting at the mound with everybody in the Cub infield, and Jim Riggleman out to talk with Turk. Gives him a vote of confidence. And let's see if Turk can go to work and get out of the inning.
I'll bet you anything. That's exactly what we were talking about, is what Riggleman was trying to decide. He knows if he brings in the left-hander to pitch to Gregg, Andre Dawson would be the pinch hitter.
They would go to probably Dawson and possibly Jeff Conine, and I think he'd likes the matchup of Wendell against Gregg as opposed to Hickerson and Conine.
Gregg is 0 for 3 today, hit the ball very hard 1 time. Pickoff play, the runner back to first base in time. Sheffield, very fast.
And Tommy Gregg is a good hitter. Now they've dodged the bullet with him 3 times. Twice with people in scoring position.
1 break here is Burkett, the pitcher's the runner at second. And so on the base hit, he might not have a chance to score or be thrown out at the plate.
Well, the outfield is very deep all the way around, and Harry, you're right, it was 5 walks. 4 of them were intentional.
Yeah.
The same game.
Now the stretch pitch, and he fouls the pitch back, and 2 balls and the strike. Rusty Kuntz, who used to be the White Sox as a player, you know, and is from this area, coaching first base for the Marlins. 3 balls and the strike.
Now you got to be careful with the fastball, because that's all Gregg is looking for with a 3-1 count.
Ball 4, and the bases are loaded. And now Colbrunn, a good hitter, always seems to get a piece of the ball. 0 for 3 today. He was 1 out of 4 with an RBI yesterday.
And twice they had Colbrunn hitting the ball right on the nose to center field. You don't want him pulling the ball in this situation. You see the White Sox
beat the Tigers 1-0 today. So Colbrunn with the bases loaded. 2 men are out. Turk Wendell, who took over the 7th. Burkett on base as a result of an error by Johnson, leading off the inning. Little bit low. Can't afford to walk this fella. There's no place to put him.
And he can't afford to make it too good, especially over the inner part of the plate.
Oh, way high and inside. You know, Wendell is a funny case. He's outstanding when he goes into the minor leagues. He comes back here and he seems to have trouble. Rarely pitching well. 2 balls, no strikes. He pops it up. This will end the inning. Sanchez. He's there. Makes the catch to retire the side. So, 1 error. No hits. 3 men left. We go into the bottom of the 7th. Game all tied up. 1-1. Hey, here we are out here in right field. Let me hear you. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball.
We're very fortunate to have such a wonderful family.
After his operation, his body was like twice the normal size. He was on this respirator for 3 weeks. It was kind of lonely around here.
I got Affleck through our company. The owner of the company felt that we should have it. It turned out fabulous.
Affleck covers the unexpected costs of getting better, so you can get on with life.
Everything worked out wonderful.
Good.
There's science, and then there's science. The Living Sea, now playing at the OmniMax Theater.
Harry Caray back at Wrigley Field. We're going to the bottom of the 7th. The White Sox beat Detroit 1-0 today. Toronto shut out Cleveland 3-0. Yankees at Oakland, no score in the first. Montreal beat the Dodgers 2-1. Here's Grace fouling the first pitch. And the Mets have defeated the San Francisco Giants 6-3. Burkett has gone all the way. Navarro can't win this ball game, but he sure pitched tremendously well. Ball is low. 2 balls and a strike. Grace hit 1 ball right on the button, but out. There's a base hit in the center field. Grace opens the inning with a single to center. The shortstop, Abbott, leaped high and cleared his head.
And with the rains falling, pretty good piece of hitting by Mark Grace. A straight change just over the outstretched glove of Kurt Abbott. And that's a tough pitch to handle. So the rains keep falling a little bit harder. And it would behoove the Cubs to put one on the board.
And here's Wilkins. He's nothing out of 2 today. And let's see how the Cubs decide to play it. Jerry Browne playing very shallow at third base in anticipation of the bunt. Swung and a miss. Wilkins given the green light. Swung and missed. It's raining harder now.
I am a little surprised that he's not asked to lay the ball down, Harry. It's going to be tough to field with the wet infield, and you need a run.
Pitch a little bit low and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dunston will be next. They probably would walk Dunston, though, if he sacrificed. Throw the first runner back. Boy, Burkett has pitched an outstanding ball game also. He and Navarro. Quite a pitching duel here in the rain. There's Max Olivares. He looks a high pop fly out of play. And here's Veras, the second baseman, coming in to talk to Burkett.
And Harry, the record book on most intentional walks in a 9-inning game for both leagues is 3. Now, Andres was accomplished in an extra inning game, so Sheffield has tied that here today, assuming this does turn into a 9-inning game.
Wilkins. The pitch. Low and inside. Burkett has given up only 3 hits, but one of them was a pinch home run by Ozzie Timmons that tied up the ball game for the Cubs. Swung and he struck him out. So Wilkins is 0 for 3. That's the second time today he has fanned.
John Burkett has thrown 20 first pitch strikes, and that's been one of the secrets to this fine performance today.
Well, you know, that's Ferguson Jenkins' theory. The best pitch in baseball, he says, is strike 1. There's Fergie.
It is really pouring now, Harry.
Whoa, was he hit?
No, that was a foul ball.
Let's see if he's hurt. Dunston gets up slowly. He's all right.
That one sailed up and in and got a piece of the bat. This is self-defense. Dunston fouls it off, but he bends himself into a pretzel.
So, strike 1 on Dunston. The runner at first, Mark Grace. The paid attendance here today, 27,260. Quick throw over there. Very fine turnout on a rainy, cold day. One tie. Ground ball right field, base hit. Here goes Grace around the third. And the Cubs have the leading run on at third base. Let him dancing in the stand at Wrigley Field. Ah, you can't beat fun at the old ballpark, even when it's raining. Boy, Dunston with a good bit of hitting. The pitch was in the outside part of the plate, probably in the strike zone, and he just guided it in the right field.
And I think what they might want to do, Harry, is get some drying compound for the mound. It is getting a little slick out there, but apparently Burkett says it's all right.
Well, let's get this go-ahead run in. It's all tied up 1-1. Runners at first and third with one away. Hojo Johnson. No, they're going to delay it. Nope, time call.
Now, Johnson has always hit Burkett well. He did draw base on balls 0 for 1 today. Over the course of his career, he's hitting just under 320 against him, and this is a big at bat.
Hojo Johnson popped out and walked. The outfield play not very deep in right and center, very deep and left. Grace, the leading run at third base. The rain coming down rather hard. Ooh, he had a cut on that one, but he fouled it back.
Almost amazingly, Harry, John Burkett has not been 2-0 or 3-1 on any hitter today.
How about that? Dunston, who's hot for the Cubs?
I think they want some drying compound on the mound, and I thought that Bruce Fremming had called for it before.
Now the game's going to be delayed.
No, they're just going to put some drying compound. I don't think, well, yeah.
Well, let's see if they merely dry the mound. The way Bruce Fremming indicated with his hands.
It looks like they are going to put the tarp on.
They are going to delay the ball game. When action resumes, there'll be runners at first and third with only one out. The crowd is not happy about the delay. They're anxious to be here for the kill, hoping the Cubs will take the lead.
You can understand it, Harry, because it is getting very wet in the infield, and before the infield has any more rain on it and gets too soaked, Bruce wants to call the ground crew out, put the tarp on. Cubs in a pretty good position right now after dodging the bullet in the top of the 7th inning. Turk Wendell getting Colbrunn to pop it up on a 2-0 pitch. And right now they're in control with Howard Johnson. And depending on how long it goes, you'd have to then wonder if John Burkett will indeed come back.
You know, with the game tomorrow, I'm wondering, could this game be picked up where it is right now, runners first and third, with the score tied 1-1?
I think if they call it because of rain, it goes in the books to tie, and they got to play it over again, I think. I'm not sure exactly what the rule states, but I think that they're going to get this game in. The rain doesn't appear to be coming down all that hard. I mean, it is raining. It's been raining consistently, but I think that we should be in pretty good shape, hopefully in good shape, because the Cubs look like they're going to break through here after a fine pitch ball game by John Burkett.
We'll be back with more in a moment.
Which beads water longer, new Armor All Deck Protector or Thompson's Water Seal? To find out, treat the same deck with both and let it rain. And rain. And rain. New Armor All Deck Protector beads water twice as long as Thompson's because it bonds into the wood. New Armor All Deck Protector. And for brick, concrete, and other porous surfaces, try new Armor All Waterproofing Sealer.
What people are saying about the new Tiger Shark watercraft. What we're saying.
where does the whole neighborhood go when it's time to fix up around home?
They'll get you squared away.
With the score tied 1-1, the Cubs have runners at first and third with only one out. They're in a great position to take the lead in this ball game if only the rain stopped.
And the one thing that's held consistent for the Cubs, they're getting just outstanding work out of the starting rotation. Today, no exception. Jamie Navarro was brilliant through 6 innings. The Cubs pitching, Harry, has just been terrific. They've held down the opposition, and today, you figured with the wind blowing to left field that you would see a high-scoring game. It hasn't worked out that way at 1-1, but the Cubs now have a chance to do something they haven't been able to do, and that's break through against Burkett. The only run, Ozzie Timmons, a pinch home run, the first Major League home run for the youngster.
That's funny, isn't it? Now, here's Timmons, been used only against left-handers. Today, with the score 1-0 against the Cubs, he was used as a pinch hitter against a right-hander, and he homered to tie up the ball game 1-1.
And this is a big game for the Cubs because they've lost 2 in a row. They're playing a team that's 7-20. The Marlins having some injury problems, and they're having a tough time this year. So we'll take a look at the home run off the bat of Ozzie Timmons. He goes way back. John Burkett has made only one mistake today. This was it, and Timmons was able to take advantage of it.
The way he hit that ball against a tough right-hander, Burkett, I would imagine he's going to see service in left field a little more than he has been.
Well, right now, Jim Riggleman says he's pretty happy with the platoon system that they have, but Ozzie Timmons probably has a chance, Harry, to be a 20-25 home run man in the major leagues. Scott Bullitt has done a wonderful job out there. He's starting to hit. He's played very strong defense, and I think at least for the moment, they're happy with the production they've gotten out of left field.
It's a little surprising, isn't it, the fact that the Cubs have a little trouble hitting as well at home as they do on the road. You would think that playing at Wrigley Field, everybody talks about what a good hitter's ballpark it is. You would think they would hit a lot of home runs here because they hit a lot on the road.
Well, I think the surprising thing is the Cubs have actually hit better at home if you look at the average. They've hit over 270 here, but they're not scoring near as much. They're averaging 5.5 runs per game on the road, only 4 runs at home. And Harry, one of the reasons is it's been cold here. The wind has been blowing in most of the time. Maybe when summer does come, if it eventually does come to Chicago, you're going to see the Cubs hit the ball a little bit better at home. But so far they're 4-6 here in Chicago, and they're just killing them on the road.
You know, Steve, you having been a pitcher, it's a little surprising about Wendell. He's outstanding in the minor leagues. You know, they've shown a lot of patience with him because he looks so great when he goes back to AAA. It would seem to me it's just a matter of him getting a little confidence, but confidence only comes from success. And if he would have a couple of outings where he got him out, as he did today, it could be a blessing for the young man and for the ball club.
Well, I think the Cubs are looking for another right-hander in that bullpen. And Turk Wendell, when he goes down to AAA here, he's very comfortable. He's had success there. He knows that he can win in AAA, and he goes to the mound with a different attitude. And I think you're right. I think if he has a couple of good appearances under his belt here in the major leagues, he's going to be a fine addition because he's got a lively fastball, and he does throw a sinker. He keeps the ball down. The ball has a lot of movement to it, and we saw in that inning he had some problems with his control. But he did get out of the inning making a big pitch, and that was a tough situation. Colbrunn's a good hitter. He got him to pop up with the bases loaded.
Boy, that was a big out. The biggest out of the day for the Cubs, just as Timmons' home run was the biggest hit of the day for the Chicago Cubs. I want to ask you a personal question. Are you sure this counter we're sitting on is strong enough to hold us?
Well, never having been here before, I'm not too sure if we're not going to go tumbling into the right field stand. So it just depends, I guess, on how much you attack that dessert cart that they brought through here. Right now, I don't think this feels real stable.
Well, I took one bite of one of those delicacies they brought around. I think with one bite, I added 8 pounds.
Well, this is a great place to be, and of course, our first chance to broadcast from up here. It's the Super Suite. You can fit up to 40 people, and you can rent it for parties. They sell it on a day-to-day basis, and one of the reasons we're up here, Harry, it is such a wonderful place to watch a baseball game. And I think that if anybody has a special event, this would be a great place to do it.
Well, you know, with every new ballpark that is built, one of the things they have are luxury boxes. Well, I tell you, Wrigley Field is not a new ballpark. but this luxury box is about as good as they come. A lot of room, a lot of seats. It doesn't cost you too much, especially from a corporate situation. And I certainly, like you, heartily recommend anybody with a party in mind for whatever reason to get hold of the Cubs on the telephone, make a reservation, and join us here. You know, how about them Cubbies is my slogan. And really, this is going to be a great year. The Cubs, you know, they're now 1 game ahead. It isn't as good as 3 games ahead. But this is going to be a tough division. Anybody can look at the Phillies in the Eastern Division, the Angels in the Western Division, the American League. A lot of parity in baseball. A lot of teams are in contention in every division. And it should be a great year for the game if we ever get over the bitterness some people feel about the strike, which we don't have anything to do with. I guess only the owners and the players have to take the blame for that. But after it's all said and done, this always will be baseball long after the owners are gone, long after the broadcasters are gone, long after the players are gone, because all of us are just temporary actors on the stage. It's a game that never changes, and it's truly the game everybody loves.
Well, Harry, let me ask you a question, because you had an opportunity to do something that I know you haven't done in a long time, and that was, as a fan and a viewer, watch the entire road trip, and I know you watched just about every ball game. What exactly did the Cubs look to you in comparison to the Cub teams of the last couple of years? I mean, we saw them close up, and many times when you're close to a ball club and you get involved with the personalities on a day-to-day basis, sometimes you get a little prejudiced about the performances of the players. But watching it from here, knowing how great a road trip it was, what did you feel about the ball club on the road?
A couple of things. Number one, if you're going to blame a manager when you lose, you got to give them some credit when you win. And the fact that they played aggressive baseball, they ran on the contact play. They've run on the contact play here too, that have run into outs. Doesn't succeed every time, but it's a ball club that seems to be alert, number one. Number two, it's a ball club that seems to be loose. It seems like everybody enjoys everybody else's company. That's very important. I don't know what went on here. I was here, you were here. I never dreamt of the situation I read in Ryan Sandberg's book, and I've read the newspaper a number of times since then, that the feelings against Larry Hines were as severe as apparently they were. And I find it hard to believe that a guy in the front office can upset the equilibrium of a whole team in the clubhouse, because the player's obligation is to play. But apparently, he was on the players' minds a lot. Apparently, because of his treatment of the ball players, they all kind of would moan and groan and whine and not let people know about it. But everybody in the inner circle did know about it, and that kind of amazed me. But quite obviously, that situation doesn't exist any longer. And to try to answer your question, I know I've gone by way of Keokuk, but I just want to say this is a heck of a better ball club to watch, even if you're just watching on television, than it was last year.
Well, I think one of the things that you have to take into consideration is it's a brand new front office, it's a brand new manager, and so certainly with a brand new coaching staff almost entirely, there's a getting to know process. I think they've gotten to know these players pretty well. And Harry, I think in baseball, gone are the days when you can have those old Oakland A's teams of the early 70s where everybody fought amongst themselves. Every day you'd have an argument in the clubhouse. Sometimes you'd have some fights, and the team would pull together on the field. That team was so talented, they just laid over the field and dominated the American League. But today, the talent pool is so similar that if your team can get along, if they enjoy coming to the ballpark, playing with one another, and picking one another up as a team, you're going to play a lot better. And I think that we've seen that with the Chicago Cubs. It starts at the top with Andy MacPhail. It goes down through Ed Lynch and Jim Riggleman and his coaching staff. I think they've dedicated themselves to an improved ball club. Nobody is promising a championship in 1995. What they are promising is a team that's going to hustle every day, be a little more fundamentally sound, and at least lay the groundwork for a team that is going to be successful. And Harry, we don't know when it is, but it's going to be in the not-too-distant future that they do hang a pennant out there.
I tell you, the whole situation might be very fortunate in its development, and what you have said is certainly true. But there's a native Chicagoan. His name is Jim Dowdle. He's a guy who lives in Chicago. He's been watching baseball for the last 14 or 15 years I know about. And he has seen, and he knew from mixing with the ball players, that things weren't as they should be. He'd walk into the clubhouse now and then, and it didn't look like a happy place to work. Now, Jim Dowdle happens to be the executive in charge of things, and in charge of the ball club now for the Tribune Company. He went out, he scouted Andy MacPhail very, very well. He used to work in Minneapolis, Jim Dowdle did, and he has a lot of friends there, very influential friends on the in the television and radio business, and also with the Minnesota Twins Baseball Club. He thoroughly scouted and felt everybody and talked to everybody about suggestions. He decided on Andy MacPhail. Once he named Andy MacPhail, Andy MacPhail knows very well he runs the Chicago Cubs. MacPhail then went out and got the manager he wanted, Ed Lynch. Ed Lynch knows he's a general manager. He'll go talk to the president, who's Andy MacPhail, and decide things that have to be done, get somebody else's thinking. Then Lynch went out and got Jim Riggleman, whom he knew from broadcasting and playing in San Diego. And so I think for the first time, the situation for the Cubs, for not only the present but the future, is in good hands. Everybody knows that everybody's going to be given the green light to do his job. Nobody's going to be looking on his shoulder, you should have done that, you should have done that. Each man knows the responsibility for the job to be done with the Cubs is in the realm of whatever their job is. And I think that's a very, very healthy situation, not only for a baseball team, for any kind of a business.
Well, I think that it starts with a triangle, Harry, and the triangle being the president, the general manager, and the manager of the ball club. And if that triangle at the top is solid, and it appears to be with the Cubs, you can't help but have a better situation on the field. And the Cubs are a team right now that's doing most everything a whole lot better than they did last year. The one thing they have to do is start playing a little better at home because they're 4-6, and I think that's going to happen. Jim Riggleman said he believes it's just a coincidence that the team really isn't playing as well as he'd like here. Jim Riggleman has shown me, Harry, in the short time he's been the manager of this team, that he's very much of a perfectionist. He's not afraid to second-guess himself. He says he goes over every move after a ball game. He will berate himself for making certain moves that didn't work or not making moves that he felt he should have made. All things considered, he's done a very nice job with his team, and I think it's essential to respect the manager. You don't have to particularly like him, but I believe that this team both likes and respects Jim Riggleman, and we're not even a month into this season.
Right. You know, I'm often asked, it used to be, who's Arnie Harris? I made him the most famous guy in America, but people rarely see him. Now, there's a little gal that works here in the booth with us. Her name is Mandy Cohen. Now, I'm asked frequently, who's Mandy Cohen? Mandy Cohen, come over here. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. We've got a couple minutes to kill, and I want him to see. Here, you get in the middle between us. I know you don't like Steve, but Mandy Cohen, what are your duties, really?
Well, Harry?
Babysitting us most of the time.
That's what I tell most people, that I take care of you guys, and I'm on the headsets with Arnie and Joe Corneo and Mark Stencil, and I tell them what's going on in the field, what they can't see because the cameras aren't shooting until...
Are you a little nervous right now?
Just a little.
Why? Why you're
because I like being behind the scenes.
Oh, you don't like to be the star of the show?
No.
And don't worry, Mandy, because there's nobody watching. It's a rain delay, so you're really not talking to anybody, just Harry and I.
Now, let me ask you something. I recommend that you get paid a higher salary. Now, your immediate boss, I would imagine, is Arnie Harris, right?
Immediate, yes.
Yeah.
And my other boss is right over there. You could bring him
Bill
on.
Borsley. Yeah, well, I hope, well, he's listening to everything we say, you know. And I was just wondering if Arnie, like myself and like Steve and like Thom Brennaman, we have a unanimous thought that you should get paid more money.
I would agree with that.
All right, folks, this is the Mandy Cohen we frequently talk about. Thank you, Mandy. All right, Arnie, we'll be back more in a moment.
Well, we took two of the colors that we really liked the best and took them into Sears, and they matched it perfectly for us.
Memorial Day weekend is perfect for painting, which means it's time for Sears Memorial Day paint sale.
One coat does this.
Every color, every brand, up to half off. Like either of these interior or exterior flat paints, save 50%.
With Weather Beater, I think we'll sell the house before we paint again.
The huge Memorial Day paint sale at Sears and Sears hardware stores.
People at Sears really made it easy for us.
Watch what happens to these scratches and swirl marks. New advanced formula Color Magic car polish from Turtle Wax contains more colorants to help hide minor scratches and swirl marks better than ever, while giving your car 12 months of unsurpassed Turtle Wax protection against the elements. Even on old neglected finishes, advanced formula Color Magic works like magic, bringing back the color and shine. Hide scratches and swirl marks better than ever with new advanced formula Turtle Wax Color Magic.
Harry Caray back at Wrigley Field. In the National League, a lot of the games will be played tonight. The Cubs, of course, are tied here with Florida in the bottom half of the 7th, with runners at first and third and only one out. And the rain has diminished considerably, giving hope that this game will be finished. In other games in the National League, Montreal edged the Dodgers 2-1. And the New York Mets beat the San Francisco Giants 6-3. Other teams will play tonight, which includes Cincinnati at St. Louis, Atlanta at Houston, Colorado at Pittsburgh. In the American League, the White Sox won a thriller. Bear, the winner, 1-0 over Detroit. And, you know, last night they had a slugfest. The Tigers won the ball game 8-7 with a home run by Kurt Gibson in the bottom of the 9th with a man on. But today the White Sox bounced back, got the great pitching that everybody thought they would have all year long, and they beat Detroit 1-0, and that has to be a tremendously well-pitched game to shut out the Tigers at Tiger Stadium. Oakland is leading the Yankees 2-0 at the end of 2. And Toronto blank Cleveland 3-0. The other games will be played tonight. Folks, we're now ready with a special feature that I know you're going to love. The magic of '89 is billed, and who will ever forget the thrills we all had in '89 when the Cubs won the division title, and everybody thought that they're going to be in the World Series. Unfortunately, that did not happen. But look, be with us now and enjoy magic in '89.
It was a season full of memories, a season full of miracles. The Cubs Magic of '89 presents The Comeback, the incredible victory over the Houston Astros on August 29th.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Great Games of the Past here on WGN. I'm Dan Roan, and we'll get right back out to the ballpark just as soon as the weather allows. But for now, we want to take you back to a hot summer day in August of 1989. The Cubs in hot pursuit of the Eastern Division Championship. The Houston Astros were in town. And after the dust had settled around this game, the Cubs had convinced everybody, including themselves, I think, that '89 would be their year. Now, the early innings clearly belonged to the Astros. They went up early, scoring 2 in the second and tacking on 2 more in the top of the 4th. The Cubs were struggling, and with 2 runners on and nobody out in the top of the 5th, manager Don Zimmer pulled Mike Bielecki, replacing him with Dean Wilkins.
Ball game in the 5th inning. Houston with 2 men on, nobody out. Cubs down by 4, and Dean Wilkins is the new Cubs pitcher.
Wilkins on for the 4th time. He doesn't have a record. He does have a .386 ERA in 4 2/3 innings, giving up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, giving up 1 homer, walked 2, struck out 3. He's got a split finger fastball. That's what he throws quite a bit, and the bullpen is still up and going. So Don Zimmer, who didn't flip-flop his batting order, likely will let Wilkins get out of this inning if he can. Then the pinch hitter and Sanderson, who's warming up, will probably come in the game.
All of that because the pitcher's spot is due to lead off the bottom of the 5th. We'll bring you up to date on the scoring in the 2nd inning. Ramirez hit a ground ball to short. Dunston made a bad throw to Sandberg, and Houston picked up the first 2 runs out of that bases loaded situation. That came in the 2nd inning to make it 2-0. And in the 4th, Rafael Ramirez with a double up the right field line, chasing home Caminetti and Biggio for the 3rd and 4th runs of the afternoon. Now in the 5th, Houston with a threat, men at 1st and 2nd, nobody out, and Glenn Davis, the hitter. Davis is 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. He was a little under the weather this morning, and they weren't sure that he'd be in the lineup, but here he is, and a big man in the middle of that Houston lineup. Strike call.
He wasn't far enough under the weather as far as the Cubs are concerned, because taking him out of the lineup gives the lineup a whole different look.
A strike to count. 31 home runs for Glenn Davis. A little close. Davis ducks it, and the count is 1-1.
I would think that the stock of Dean Wilkins could raise dramatically if he were to get out of this inning, especially with who he has to face. Davis, Wilson, and Caminetti, unless he can induce one of these guys to ground into a double play.
Nobody out as he inherits 2 base runners. He had Davis way out in front. A ball, 2 strikes.
That's exactly where he wants to stay on Glenn Davis. If he's going to go with the split finger, he wants to keep it low and away. If he throws it out of the strike zone, he'll get him. Davis is not tough to fan. He's gone down 105 times this year.
A ball, 2 strikes. Now we go to 2-2. 2 of his 31 home runs have come at the expense of the Cubs. One off Les Lancaster and the other one off Greg Maddux. Rick Sutcliffe along with Steve Wilson. Sutcliffe goes tomorrow night against Mike Scott. 2-2 the count. Now we go all the way to 3-2. Glenn Wilson is on deck. Bielecki walked 5 while he was in there. Gave up 3 hits so far, 4 runs in 4 innings plus. Runners are going, and there's ball 4 to load the bases. Doran goes to 3rd, Bass up to 2nd, and Davis aboard to load him. Well, Don Zimmer and Dick Pohl got a lift for their pitching staff yesterday when Greg Maddux went the distance, giving the Cubs a complete game for the first time in 3 weeks when Maddux had gone the distance. But today, Bilecki out after 4 innings plus, so into the bullpen we go. Bases loaded, and Glenn Wilson is the hitter. A popper. Dunston stalking this one, and he's got it on the infield fly. 1 out.
This is the second inning today when the Astros have been the beneficiaries of 3 walks. Came back to haunt Mike Bilecki in the second inning. Without a hit, the Astros scored twice. And now Dean Wilkins trying to fight his way out of the 5th.
And anytime you can wiggle out of a situation like this, you can't help but think that gives your club a lift and a chance maybe to pick away and come back in a ball game such as this. So this turns out to be a crucial spot in this game. Caminiti, strike 1. Better right-handed hitter than left, Caminiti. He has walked and singled and has scored 2 runs.
When Wilkins is right, he will get a lot of ground balls because of that split finger. Caminiti's grounded into 8 double plays this year. Infield halfway.
A ball and a strike. Interesting note out of New York. The Yankees have announced that Sid Thrift, the senior vice president of baseball operations, has resigned for personal reasons. The pitch down and in. 2 balls and a strike.
They're dropping like flies in New York.
As Dallas Green replaced, I guess, a little more than 10 days ago now by Bucky Dent. And now Sid Thrift leaves for personal reasons. Down and in. The ball gets away from Girardi, and here comes Dorn to score. A wild pitch. The run charged to Bilecki, and now it's 5-0. A wild pitch charged to Dean Wilkins.
Home plate seems to be moving around today. Bilecki having a lot of trouble with a wild pitch and 5 walks, and now Wilkins.
Nope, they're going to change it to a pass ball. It's going to be a pass ball and not a wild pitch. So the Astros pick up another run, have 2 more in scoring position. Foul ball by Caminiti.
Ken Caminiti helped out Dean Wilkins. That was ball 4. Fastball around the shoe tops.
Full count. Biggio, the catcher's on deck. 1 out. Bass at third, Davis at second. Strike call on the corner. Biggio will be up there now with 2 outs. Caminiti caught looking. After swinging at ball 4 and fouling it off, he takes strike 3. Biggio has walked and doubled.
He's got some problems with his right hand. It's taped up under that glove. He said he heard it swinging at a high fastball. He does have quick hands. And to this point, at least, an offensive catcher as opposed to a defensive catcher, but the Astros think he's getting better by the day.
Low and outside, blocked by Joe Girardi. Cubs won yesterday 6-1, but they're down by 5 runs in the 5th. Look at Art Howe. He's kept this club in contention. 1-0 the count. Howe has been a big champion of Biggio. And the third baseman, Ken Caminiti, as well. Biggio takes ball 2 close. 2-0.
Greatest thing that can happen to any young player is to have the confidence of his manager and know when he comes to the ballpark, his name's going to be in the lineup. That's the only way you get better at this level. Well, at any level for that matter, is to continue to go out there facing pitching day after day and see how they're going to work you.
A strike is called. 2-1. There's Mike Scott. He'll be tomorrow night's pitcher. Scott 17-7. He'll be going against Rick Sutcliffe. A 7:05 first pitch tomorrow night. Biggio out in front. That takes the count to 2-2. There's Yogi Berra. Has he reviewed any films lately?
I've heard some of those reviews.
The film critic, Yogi Berra.
I think that Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert are safe.
Full count. Submitted second and third, a full count on Biggio. Biggio out of Seton Hall. There we go.
Bad jokes in Rising? Oh, Arnie, I can't believe you'd show that.
We're ready.
I thought I was on a hot streak.
Foul ball back. Well, that's great. I'm glad I'm not the only one that reacts the way I do.
And they ruined a perfectly good bed sheet for that sign. Now Don Zimmer coming out. He doesn't like the location of the pitches by Dean Wilkins. He's gotten the split finger up.
Been a long afternoon for Don Zimmer. He saw Bilecki walk 5 men, throw a wild pitch. Wilkins has walked a man, 3-2 on Biggio.
You know, I'd like to see in one of those hats that Ed Montague is wearing. Those hats with no bill at all that the umpires use when they ump behind the plate. Those are nice looking. You get that real short bill at front. Doesn't stop any of the sun from getting on your face.
You'd like one of those?
No, I'd like to see you in one.
Oh.
You look like a big hat guy.
Yeah, it would have to be a big hat. Well, Zimmer has his say. Let's see if Wilkins can get Biggio. He walks him. So another walk in the inning. 4 walks in this inning. 7 in the game by Cubs pitching. We're not through the 5th yet. So the bases are loaded again. Don Zimmer and Dick Pole talking this one over.
When you overthrow the split finger fastball, that's when you wind up in all kinds of trouble.
Now Ramirez drives one high and deep to left. McClendon back on the track, and that ball's gone. He left it up, and Ramirez hit it out. A grand slam home run for Rafael Ramirez. Ramirez now has 7 runs batted in this game. 1 in the 2nd inning, 2 in the 4th, and 4 here in the 5th on a grand slam home run. And just like that, it's a 5-run inning and a 9-0 ball game.
6 of the 9 runs have been on via the base on balls. And it doesn't take a Rhodes Scholar to figure out that that will bury you in the major leagues.
Now here's Portugal fouling one back, strike 1. Well, we talked about it being such a crucial spot if the Cubs could get out of this, but they have not. Portugal sends a fly ball into left. McClendon under this one to make the catch. Houston sends 8 men to the plate. They score 5 of them, and as we go into the bottom of the 5th, it's now 9-0 Houston.
Here's a promise from Sterling Bank and Trust. Open a savings account with us for at least $200, and we'll issue you a Visa or MasterCard or both, regardless of income, employment, or credit history. Guaranteed. Call now to open your account. Your approval is guaranteed. Plus, with our express service, your card will be mailed 10 days after we receive your application and savings deposit. Whether you're starting out or starting over, we promise you will be approved.
Hi, Hi, I'm Joy Mangano, and I invented the Miracle Mop. It's the original cotton self-wringing mop. Therefore, the most absorbent. It will clean that mess again and again and again.
And I'm Jane Rudolph-Tracy, host on QVC, where we have sold over 300,000 mops to people all across the country, just like you. In fact, let's hear from some of them. Hi, you're on the air.
I love your mop. It's been a lifesaver. I can get under my cabinets in the corners, and my 10-year-old daughter loves to mop my floor with it.
It really is the Miracle Mop when even the kids want to get in on the cleaning.
Sure. Well, you know, it's 300 feet of continuous loop cotton, and with a simple twist of the handle, you can wring it out as wet or as dry as you like. And in the cotton, unlike synthetics, it won't scratch any surface.
And the self-wringing action means that your hands never get into hot water. Plus, there's no bending over, so it's easier on your lower back.
Oh, sure. You can take it into the bathtub, up the shower stall, behind the commode.
And after all that messy cleaning, this is the only mop of its kind. You're so smart that you can put into the washing machine with bleach. Put it in with your whites, a little bit of bleach, and it comes out germ-free.
I guarantee this is literally the last mop you'll ever have to buy.
I can't say enough about them. They're wonderful. It cuts my time in half, and all my friends have ordered them. I tell everyone about it. This mop is wonderful. I would tell anybody to buy it. You'll throw all your other mops out.
It's lightweight, high-tech. It's not made of wood or metal. It will not rot or rust. It's the quality mop, proudly made in the USA.
And if you call right now, you'll also get a scuff remover for all those black marks on the floor.
Or gum.
She's a mother of 5, she knows. You'll be so happy if you order now the entire package for only $19.95. Why don't you give us a call? Our operators are standing by.
Have your credit card ready and call 1-800-500-0612. 1-800-500-0612. The original Miracle Mop really will be the last mop you'll ever have to buy. Call 1-800-500-0612 or send check or money order to this address. But for faster delivery, call 1-800-500-0612. Call now.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Caray. We're in the super suite. First of all, though, about Magic in '89, please don't go away. I know the Cubs are trailing 9-0, but you're going to see how the Cubs actually won this game from Houston. So don't go away. We're going to have more of that. Here we are at Wrigley Field. I don't know when that was, but the Cardinals were the opposition. Apparently, it's some time ago because even the streets look different, and certainly the automobiles look different. We're going to walk around this super suite because actually it's a lovely place to throw a party, and the Chicago Cubs are anxious for you to realize the party tendencies here. Not only the food, but the ability to see every play in comfort. Now, Mike here is my cameraman, and I'm moving closer to him. We're going to move all the way around the room. Leonard, how are you doing? Are you here all the time?
Yes, I am. Most all the time.
What do you do?
Well, I set up the suites and stuff and whatever need to be done around.
Excellent. What's the last name, Leonard?
Haywood.
You've been here all year?
Yes.
First year?
No.
You've been here a long time?
Yeah, for a while. Yes.
Hello, boy, Leonard.
Yeah,
Good
okay.
to see you.
Good to see you, Mr.
All right, here, who's this guy here? What's your name?
Steve.
Hey, Steve, how are you? You see the TV sets? If things get a little boring outside, they come in here, have a libation or two. Watch. On the TV right now, there's the number. If you're interested in making a reservation, if you're from out of town, the area code, of course, is 312. If you're in town, 404-CUBS. If you're out of town, it's 312-404-CUBS. If you're only in Chicago, 404-CUBS. On one of the TV sets. There are a lot of them around here. Here's what's left. Here's what's left of all the food we've been eating today. I can see that Brennaman and Steve and Ron Santo have been busily engaged, partaking. A lot of other stuff here. Hey, can you see this? Oh, look at that. Okay. If I turn this switch, what goes on? All right, let me move along. Here's a little more room here. Here's a sink. I'm looking for the hard stuff, but I don't see any. There is a bottle opener here. All right. Here's one of our Let's see what's in here. It's empty now. But this will give you an idea how spacious it is. Now, we're going to go outside. Okay. Hey, Jim Lucas, how you doing? Are you guys on the air? Are you guys on the air? Hey, Dave, are you guys on the air? Hey, Tommy Brennaman just turned around. We'll see we'll get a front view of him in a moment. Whoop. You sure I won't get electrocuted, right? See, I'm still walking around in here, and now we're coming to the outside port. Now here is Ron Santo and Thom Brennaman. They're on the air on WGN Radio. What are you guys talking about?
We're talking about the Chicago Cubs. Harry just is stepping in front of us.
We're on
now.
TV right now.
Oh, we're on TV.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm talking about the super suite. It is super, isn't it?
Oh, it's really super. For those on the radio, we're talking about the super suite where we're broadcasting from here today, and Harry's got us on the tube. You are the grand master, the tour giving here at Wrigley Field.
I saw what was left of all the food they've been bringing out.
Him.
No, that's you, Tommy.
Oh, Harry.
All right, go back to your radio program. And now we're outside where we've been broadcasting from. And look at the fans. Come on over. Now I'm sure this gives you an idea how much room there is. Let me give you some of the details, by the way. There's not only one of these suites, there's two of them. One at the other end of the mezzanine section. Now, it's designed to throw parties for corporations and private parties. They have a complete menu package provided by the Levy restaurants, and 40 tickets. If you make a reservation here, you'll also get 40 tickets, 4 parking passes, or 1 bus pass, and the price per game, $4,000. For more information, just contact the Chicago Cubs at 312 area code 404 CUBS. All right, now, I don't want to be in the, hey, where are they here? All right, here are the fans. Now, I promised you we'd be returning to the magic of '89 because the score now against the Cubs is 9-0, and you're going to see some exciting baseball. All right, for the magic in '89, here it is.
Welcome back to Great Games of the Past. We've rolled the clock back to August 29th, 1989, the comeback game. With the Astros up 9-0, we pick up the action in the bottom of the 6th when the Cubs began to chip away.
Bottom of the 6th inning from Wrigley Field, 9-0. Houston with a 5-run 5th on only 1 hit. That a home run, a grand slam home run by Rafael Ramirez. And now we go into the Cub half the 6th with Lloyd McClendon. McClendon checked in time, says Randy Marsh. Ball 1.
Lloyd turned his ankle.
He's in the lineup against the right-hander because Dwight Smith turned his ankle the other day. McClendon trying to walk this one off. A Cub fan, perhaps. She didn't like the stand at humor either, did she? There's a strike. The count is 1-1.
Arnie, where's the hat shots when we need them?
He's looking hard. Ground ball. This is Caminetti across to Davis. So the Cub left fielder, Lloyd McClendon, the first out in the 6th. There's a look at the skyline.
There's a backlog of our building shots. In fact, Arnie's putting a collage together. Famous building shots around Chicago.
Grace bounces one foul. 10 hits in this game, 5 by each team. Houston scored the first 2 runs without the benefit of a hit. One ball, one strike.
Grace does not have a hit in the series. Astros pitching him tough, and Portugal didn't throw the ball very well the first couple of innings. But all that's changed with this big lead.
And he bounces this one in. 2-1. The Astros, in a sense, are hoping that Portugal turns out to be their Mike Bilecki. A fellow who's had some success in the past, good arm, has pitched well since coming to Houston for the second time. This is his second stint up from the minor leagues with Houston. Count on Grace is 2-2.
Just shows you what happens when a man who's got pretty good stuff suddenly starts getting the ball over the plate. Sometimes you have to go down to the minors 3 or 4 times to figure it out.
Full count. Night game tomorrow to wrap up the homestand, and then the Cubs hit the road. Thursday off, Friday in Atlanta. Grace draws the walk. That's the second walk issued by Portugal. He walked Wilkerson to open the 5th. He was erased on a double play. Now a 1-out walk in the 6th to Grace brings up Andre Dawson. There's a hat shot.
He's got more glasses than he knows what to do with. Hard to believe they're holding Mark Grace on. 9 runs up, but that's what they're doing.
Here's Andre, and he takes a strike. They're really impressed by his 11 steals, aren't they?
I guess they're worried that he's going to take off.
This one too high. A ball and a strike. Cubs move into Atlanta for 3 and then go into New York for the final time this year. 2 games set against the Mets on this next road trip. 2 against the Phillies. A ball, 2 strikes, the count to Dawson. Dunston to follow Andre. A little tap. Portugal to first. Grace goes into second. Dawson out. Mark Portugal to Glenn Davis. Gives Andre 1 out of 3. So with 2 outs and Grace in scoring position, Sean Dunston will be the hitter for the Cubs.
Portugal has done it today by changing speeds, and he has a variety of off-speed pitches. He throws a hard slider, then he throws an overhand curve, which he's gotten over the plate, and he throws a straight change, which he's also gotten over the plate.
Dunston retired in the 4th on a fine play in right field by Glenn Wilson. There's strike 1. Dunston hit a sinking line drive into right. Wilson made the first of 2 excellent defensive plays in that inning. Big chop off the plate. Portugal backing down off the mound. Barehanded pickup, and he throws it away. The run will score, and Dunston's on his way to second. So the Cubs pick up a run. Portugal backing off the mound. Made the pickup barehanded and made a bad throw. That's a base hit and an error charge to Portugal. The run scores as a result of the error.
Once Mark Portugal made this play, he's got to realize who's going down the line. There's absolutely no reason to throw this ball to first. He's got no chance of getting Dunston. All he can do is give up the run, which is what he does do. And Sean is at second.
Now Domingo Ramos is the hitter. So it's a 9-1 ball game. Ramos 1 out of 2 with that base hit coming in the second inning. Taps it foul, third base side. So the Cubs have a run, 6 hits now. Ramos played third base yesterday. Went 1 for 2 with a couple walks. This one low. 1-1. Scott Sanderson throwing again in the bullpen. Ramos, the 7th hitter in the Cub lineup. A popper back of first and just beyond the bullpen.
The Cubs split with Houston 3-3 in their ballpark. Early in the year, the Cubs swept them there, and then they repaid the favor the last time the Cubs were in town. And Houston came here and swept the Cubs in the first series. It's been tough to beat them here. Just 1-3 against the Astros at home, and the Astros way ahead in this one.
And Ramos behind in the count. He lines it into right center for a base hit. Another run will score. Young overruns the ball, but Ramos hangs on at first. An RBI single for Domingo Ramos. It's 9-2. Dunston scores from second. That's the 17th RBI for Ramos.
Domingo had some designs on second base for an instant, then realized 7 runs down, there's no reason to get adventuresome on the bases. And you never know what happens. We've seen a few teams, notably the Phillies, come back from big deficits. So the Cubs keep trying to peck away. Portugal's only completed 1 game this year.
Now Girardi takes it low and outside. And the one area of concern on this Houston staff beyond depth of starters would be middle relievers, especially since Larry Anderson is on the disabled list. There's a liner into right. That's going to fall for a base hit. Skips away from Wilson. Ramos is on his way to third. So the Cubs continue the hit parade. That's 3 in a row. A base hit into right for Girardi. 8 Cub hits now. And Mitch Webster's going to pinch hit for Giraldi. So the Cubs trying to mount a little offense here in the 6th inning. This coming with 2 outs.
Joe Girardi hits the ball hard, and Wilson has some problems with it. Ramos on the way to third, and a meeting at the mound as they get the bullpen up and going. Looks like Danny Darwin starting to get loose.
And Les Moss is going to go to the mound to take up a little bit more time as Webster is announced as the pinch hitter for Giraldi. Calvin worked an inning, gave up 1 hit. And Moss slowly walking to the mound to give the bullpen more time.
That's something that a lot of pitching coaches have to work on, you know, because it's not a natural walk to walk that slowly anywhere. But Les really taking his time. It's an art. I think he's got it down pretty well as Darwin continues to throw and get loose in a hurry.
And anytime an umpire says anything to Moss, he says, "This is my natural gait. I'm an old catcher. Don't you realize that?"
Ed Montague coming out to break it up. Les Moss has had his say. And Mitch Webster will have an opportunity to do some further damage. Webster coming into the ballgame at 251, 2 for 21 with 3 RBIs as a pinch hitter.
And what you try to do in a situation such as this, when the Cubs find themselves down going into this inning by 9, try to score a couple here, pick up another run maybe in this situation, and try to battle back to the point where you can get a man at the plate, get that scoring, get the tying run at the plate. Now Davis in to take up a little bit more time, and Montague comes in, tells him to go back to first and let's get going. So the Cubs will continue to try to chip away and hopefully at some point before the afternoon is over get that tying run to the plate. Webster takes it close, ball 1. Ball 2 is high. 2-0 the count. Portugal misses again for ball 3. So Mitch Webster with a 3-0 count and Walton on deck. A strike call. Webster trying to coax the walk there. Mitch's last hit as a pinch hitter came on July the 9th off Jay Howell of the Dodgers. He strokes this one into left. Bass will go back on the ball and make the catch in front of the track to retire the side. The Cubs settle for 2 runs. 3 hits, they leave 2.
Why would you get siding installed on your house now? Well, the special offer from Sears is a good reason, but it's not as impressive as this. Before and after. After it's sided, your home will look better than ever. Siding from Sears gives your home a gorgeous new appearance that lasts for years. Sure, your home may look good every few summers or so after you're through scraping and painting again, or paying a professional to do it. But who needs the hassle?
Be smart. Call now for a free in-home consultation and estimate.
And soon a Sears siding crew will be hard at work. You'll get a thick layer of Dow styrofoam insulation underlayment. And of course, top quality, long-lasting siding from Sears. Guaranteed not to dent or peel. Siding that looks beautiful and makes life easier. Washes clean with a garden hose. Sears siding transforms almost any kind of home. Wood frame, stucco, brick. Vinyl coverings look great on hard-to-paint eaves and overhangs, too. Sears siding comes in a wide range of colors, all featuring our exclusive wood grain design. Looks just like freshly painted wood. Plus, it's backed by America's largest home improvement company, Sears.
Call now for a free in-home consultation and estimate. There's no obligation. Plus, convenient credit plans are available.
Call, and before you know it, your home will look beautiful now and ever after.
Call 1-800-851-2211 now to arrange for your free in-home consultation and estimate on Sears Premium Vinyl Siding. We proudly offer convenient financing. Sears installed home improvements have over 1 million satisfied customers and counting. So call now, 1-800-851-2211.
Everyone's rushing to the factory-authorized Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Buy anything in the store with no money down, no payments, and no interest until 1996. Get this comfortable Lazy Boy recliner for just $254 and pay nothing until next year. Or relax in a stylish Lazy Boy sofa for just $4.99 with same-day delivery available. We'll beat anyone's price or it's yours free. And if you're not happy, just return it. Stop in and register to win a $10,000 furniture shopping spree at the factory-authorized Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. Call 1-800-678-BOYS.
All right, now listen. The rains have almost stopped, and we are going to have baseball, and the Cubs are going to win this game. What's your name, young man?
Ryan Jackson.
You come to the Cubs games often?
No, sir.
No, where do you go?
Sometimes when we get tickets, or when we buy tickets, or we get free tickets from my dad's job.
Are you going to be a ball player?
I don't know.
Oh. What's your name, Sonny?
Danny.
Are you a ball player?
Yeah.
What position you want to play?
First base.
Socks. You got the wrong cap. Is your mother a Cub fan? Is this your mom here?
No.
What's your name, dear?
Pam.
Pam what?
Pam Komar.
You come here often?
Yes, I do.
Good for you. All right, what's your name?
Eric Wrights.
Where are you from, Eric?
Baltimore.
You're not related to Mark Grace, are you?
No, Eric Wrights.
Oh,
Wrights.
Wrights.
Ken Reitz. Remember Ken Reitz from the San Francisco Giants?
Yeah, well, why do you say Wrights and say Reitz?
You know, it depends where you're from, you know?
Having fun today?
Having a great time. Great
Even
time.
with all the rain.
I wish they'd keep playing, though. I don't know why they called it.
Yeah, well, they're going to start
Baseball's
again.
been off long enough. They need to play in the rain or the snow, whatever.
That's a good idea. How about you?
Cheryl Wright, his wife. We're also from Baltimore.
Well, what group is this from Baltimore?
This is the, this is the Chicago Northwestern box.
Oh, I see. What's your name? What's your name, dear?
Sherlyn Jackson.
Some of these kids yours?
Yes, these two boys.
You mean the kid with a White Sox cap? That's yours?
That's White Whitey Jackson.
Ryan Jackson. These are my two sons and my wife. We're having a good time out here at the ball game.
I'm going to get you some Cub caps.
All right.
Come over here. What's your name?
Mike.
Mike what?
Metropolis.
Nice Greek boy, huh?
Yes.
Are you a Cub fan?
Yes.
You're a good-looking young man. You're going to be in the movies. First, you play about 10 years for a major league ball club like the Cubs. Then you go right into the movies. With your looks, you got to succeed. Okay, good seeing you. Your name, sir?
I belong to him. I'm Tom Metropolis.
Oh, you are Greek.
He's good looking. I follow him around.
Did you know Nick Cladis?
Cladis, sure.
You know, his wife died a couple days ago, and she was buried yesterday. What a wonderful man.
He was.
I know you want to express your condolences to the family like I do.
To the Cladis family, my deepest sympathies. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Okay, who hasn't been on?
I'm Alan Rossi.
What do what kind of a position? Are you a Cub fan?
Yeah.
What position you play?
I don't play baseball anymore.
You don't? Why not?
Because I play football.
Oh. You're going to get hurt playing football, whereas baseball, you make $7 million a year without getting hurt.
I know. I'll do good in football, though.
Okay, very good. I know you will. Your name?
Hey, Harry, my name is John Burkett. Nice to meet you from the northwest suburbs of Chicago.
Good.
Everybody in our box today was wondering, how did the tradition to take me out to the ball game with the crowd start? Could you elaborate on that, please?
Well, that's the only, number one, that's the only song I know the words to. Number two, wherever I'd hear it, I'd be mumbling to myself or whoever's at the table or what. And then Bill Veck bought the ball. At Sox Park, in the middle of the seventh, Nancy would play it, and I'd just mum, take me out to the ballpark. And the only people who would hear it would be Jimmy Pearsall, who was my partner, and Mike Torchy, our television man. The next, so I didn't know they were doing it, but Bill, who now owned the White Sox, through lip reading, knew what I was doing, and he looked underneath our booth, and he saw about 4 people quite obviously singing with me. So the next night, he put up a public address mic, and nobody knew about it. So I'm in the booth, and she starts playing a Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And I hear my voice come booming back at me. So when the game was over, I went up to Bill and said, what the heck was that all about? He said, Harry, I've been looking 45 years for the right guy. He said, as soon as I heard you sing, I knew you were the right guy. And I began to pump up a little bit in flattery. Yeah, he says, you know why? He says, I knew that whenever anybody heard you sing, they knew that they could sing better than you. So naturally, they would sing. Whereas if you had a good singing voice, they'd be intimidated and wouldn't participate. Now that goes to show you what a public relations mind Bill Veck had. That's the whole story, nothing but the story and the truth.
Thanks, Harry.
All right, what's your name?
Ken Hunkler, Arlington Heights, Illinois. When are you going to teach Steve Stone how to sing, Harry?
Singing's not the problem, it's smoking that's the problem.
Too many cigars, huh, Harry?
What's your name?
Ray Bolt, Mundelein, Illinois.
Mundelein.
Yeah. How you doing, Harry?
I got you in there.
Hi, Harry. Dana Murphy. Dana Murphy, Downers Grove.
Downers Grove. I know some people living there. Come over here, fellas.
Come on. Yeah, come on.
Hey, Harry.
Are you looking at yourself?
No, I'm looking at you, Harry. God love you.
Looking at you, Harry.
God love you, Harry.
No, I'll tell you, you see how vain these guys are? And I had you on, yeah.
Harry,
Come here, pretty girl.
much.
Thank you, Harry.
Come here, pretty girl. What's your name?
Linda Alessi.
Where are you from?
Aurora.
Aurora. You know, they had a big softball game today.
Oh, they
in
did?
Aurora, yeah. The mayor was there, and 2 casinos there. One from Elgin, one from Aurora.
And to benefit Oklahoma City,
right,
the children.
Right. From 11 to 3 o'clock, I hope they got it in, the weather.
It was nice when we left, so hopefully
Hopefully they did.
Okay.
Hopefully they raised a lot of money.
Hope I see you here more often.
I'm here all the time.
You guys sit in these boxes?
This is the Chicago Northwestern box,
Oh,
and we're
boy,
here all the time.
Well, that's wonderful.
Oh, great.
Thank you. All right, folks. Enjoy yourself.
Number one fan.
What's your name, Sonny?
Connor.
Wait a minute. Let the cameraman get over.
Let the cameraman get over here.
Let me get out of the way. We want to see you.
The number one Cubs fan.
There he is. All right.
Say,
there you are.
who's going to win today, Con?
Who's gonna win, Connor?
Who's going to win? Say Cubbies.
What's your name?
Marty.
Marty,
Yep.
you with the big group?
Yep.
Group, huh?
Yep, we're with the big group. And we wish they'd play ball again, Harry.
Well,
Wish
I
they'd
think
play ball again.
they're going to. The rain's got to stop sooner or
Rain's gotta
later.
stop sooner or later.
What's your name?
Dan.
Dan?
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
All right.
I hope
Harry,
now let's see how powerful you are. Just pray for rain.
Say play ball. Let's all yell
Stop.
play ball.
Play,
Say
play
ball.
ball. Right.
Let's have him, Connor yell play ball.
Play ball!
All right, now let's go back for the rest of Magic and 89.
Cubs pitching kicked in as they put down the Astros in the 6th and 7th innings. And the Cubs offense suddenly found a groove. The lead continued to evaporate in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, we go in the bottom of the 7th. 9-2. Boy, there have been some remarkable comebacks this year. Remember the Phillies. The Pirates got 10 runs in the first inning and led 10-0. The Phillies came back and beat them. The Phillies again against the Cubs were way down, came back and won the ball game. Maybe the Cubs can reverse the trend. They got the leadoff man coming up, Jerome Walton, who's 0 for 3. Portugal going for his 4th victory. The pitch is inside.
Looked like it got Jerome Walton. I think it hit him. And he right now is in pain with John Fierro coming out to talk with him.
2,016,813. 67 home days. The quickest the Cubs have ever reached 2 million.
The Cubs are over the 2 million mark, 2,016,813 to be exact, as a result of today's paid attendance of 25,829. They ruled that he was hit by a pitch ball. Jerome Walton, after an investigation, I don't know what they were looking at. The pitch hit him, and he would trots down to first base.
Looked like it got him on the left hand. Apparently he's okay, and they've got a tiring Mark Portugal who looks like he's about done. Let's see if the Cubs can take advantage of that.
Here's Sandberg. Slider over the outside corner. Sandberg is 2 out of 3. There it is. The Cubs averaging over 30,000 per day. Headed for a new all-time baseball attendance record in Chicago. And projected to draw around 2,000,004. Swings and he fouls it off.
I think it's Brian Meyer loosening up in the bullpen.
You know, Sandberg, this is the 60th straight game that he has not made an error in. Tomorrow he'll go for to tie his 61 streak of 1984. Strike 3 call. Rhino thought it came around the plate. He's called out on strike.
Cubs haven't been happy with the calls of Ed Montague today, but this looks like a pretty decent pitch. Portugal still has a good curveball left. It breaks the knees of Sandberg and snaps over the corner.
Here now is McClendon. He's 0 for 2. Good fastball. He buzzed that one in there. If the Cubs lose today, They'll be 2 ahead of St. Louis, who's second. Now, in each of the last 5 days, the second-place team has been different. The Cubs have always been first. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Boy, a fine performance by Maddox, and you had Bilecki going today. You had hopes of a streak going, but he didn't have it. There's a drive in the center field, way back, might be, it is! A 9-4 game. The second home run McLendon has hit in 2 days. His 11th of the year. His 33rd and 34th runs batted in. And the Cubs now trail only by 5. And True Value Hardware happily donates $200 more to Cubs Care in the fight against cancer.
5th home run given up by Mark Portugal. It's going to be the last he's going to give up today. That's the 100th home run of the year for the Cubs. The 6th straight year they've had at least 100 home runs and at least 100 stolen bases. And Lloyd McClendon staking a claim, showing Don Zimmer that he can indeed hit the right-hand pitchers.
All right, Myers will be the new pitcher. And they're keeping track of the score. The Cubs now trail 9-4.
Brian Meyer comes into the game, recalled from Tucson on August 24th. As you look at the high fastball that sails out of the park. At Tucson, Meyer was 5-4, the ERA 280. He's a sinker baller. He had 15 saves as a short reliever in Tucson. Gave up a hit per inning. Didn't walk a lot of guys, gave up only 2 home runs, so that shows he keeps the ball in the ballpark, and he's on for the 3rd time and hasn't given up anything.
He was with Houston last year, too. He's 26 years old. Out of Camden, New Jersey. Makes his home in Medford. Big right-hander. His best year in the minor leagues was 5-2 in 1986 at Auburn with a 1.43 earned run average. Then at Osceola, 8-1-9 loss, 1.99 earned run average. Last year at Columbus, 4-3, 2.27 earned run average. He pitched in 8 games last year for Houston.
He becomes especially important because Larry Anderson, their star middle reliever, is on the shelf with an elbow injury. He's disabled. Meyer's got to help pick up the load.
Now the pitch. Good strike call. Grace was hitless yesterday, 0 for 3, and he's hitless today, 0 for 2. Myers pitch. That evens a count, a ball and a strike.
Portugal went 6 1/3 innings, gave up 4 runs on 9 hits. He walked a couple and fanned 3.
You know, that's a little tap foul. That's what I meant about with Maddox pitching a great game and Bilecki going to the mound today against Portugal. You had the feeling that if Bilecki would pitch anything like he's pitched previously this year, you'd have a good chance of winning the ball game. But they have a big lead, 9-4. Ball all the way back to the backstop. Brian Myers. Meyer without the S, M-E-Y-E-R.
There's Maddox, who threw the gem yesterday. First complete game by any Cub pitcher in 3 weeks. Vance Law getting the day off to his left.
Ground ball headed for left field, a base hit. Mark Grace punches a single to left. And here comes Dwight Smith, making his first appearance in a while. Since first game since August 23rd.
Dwight hitting .292 with 7 home runs and 40 RBIs. He took over in right field for Andre Dawson.
Strike call. Well, ball. A ball called on Meyer.
No hesitation. It was called right away, so there was no doubt about that. So young Brian Meyer has picked up his first balk this year. We'll run it at normal speed. He needs the 1 second pause, and he doesn't do it.
The strike won't count either. The balk sends Grace to second. 9-4. We're in the 7th. Dwight Smith waiting. Fouls the back, strike one. Smith hitting .292. 7 homers, 40 RBI. He'll be followed by Sean Dunston. 1 strike and nothing. Low and outside, evens the count. A ball and a strike. Grace, the runner at second. Line drive, right field. Another run will score as Smith rifled a single to right. 9-5 now.
Dwight Smith still hobbled on that sore leg. Probably would have thought about 2, but he doesn't get down the line very well. And that's just as well because it drives home his 41st run of the year. And this was a rifle shot into right field. Grace scores easily. And the Cubs are making it a ball game with the bullpen up once again, and it's Les Lancaster.
Brian Meyer appearing in his 2nd game this year. He was in 8 of them for Houston last year. 5 innings prior to today, he allowed 1 hit, no run. Walked only 1, struck out 4.
Once again, Houston going into that stall situation with Danny Darwin up and throwing in the bullpen, and Craig Biggio out to the mound to kill some time. Ed Montague trying to break it up.
Well, one thing's for sure, Ramirez won't have anybody to drive in when he steps to the plate in the 8th, because he'll be the first man up. The only man he could possibly drive in would be himself, and the only way he could do that would be to hit another home run. Swung, and he fouled it off. 9-5, Houston. Oh, boy. Zim sure would like to start this game over again, but Art Howe wouldn't. He has a 9-5 lead. Swung, and he missed. 0-2. Ramos would be next. Two. There's a fly ball, will be caught. Gerald Young is there. 2 gone. And here's Ramos. A 4-run lead is a good lead for Houston, but it is not as good as a 9-run lead. And the Cubs have scored 2 in the 6th and 3 here in the 7th. Meyer gets set. Fouled into the stands on the first base side. Strike 1.
It's been a good day for Domingo Ramos with a couple of hits and an RBI, running his season total of 17. Don Zimmer's giving him an opportunity to play at third base in place of Vance Law, and he's made the most of it the last few days.
1 strike and nothing. Bouncing ball, that'll end the inning. But the Cubs scored 3 runs on 3 hits, 1 left. At the end of 7, Houston leads 9-5.
Steve Stone back at the ballpark in a rain delay in the 7th inning, and we've got some pretty good news for you in that it's raining very lightly right now, and the fans that are left are chanting for baseball to start again. I think that's going to happen. The Cubs are in pretty good shape with runners in first and third, only 1 out. But let's take a look back at how the runs were scored in this 1-1 game, and it starts off with Jerry Browne. He comes up, and with the wind blowing to left field, 16 miles an hour, he takes Jamie Navarro out of the ballpark. 3rd home run given up by Navarro. The only run he gave up today, as he was pretty good through 6 innings. Ozzie Timmons comes up as a pinch hitter, his first major league home run, and he goes way back. That ties the score at 1. And then Mark Grace and Sean Dunston in the 7th inning singled. The Cubs have runners at the corners, only 1 out. So they've got a golden opportunity to score. Now we're getting into a fairly lengthy rain delay, which means that we're not too sure if John Burkett's going to be able to come back and pick it up where he left off. Burkett was just unbelievable today. In fact, the last time out against Atlanta, he got knocked out in the 4th inning. Really didn't have his good stuff. He walked 3 men. He gave up 6 hits and 4 runs. But today, a completely different story. Burkett in command, and almost unbelievably, he didn't have a 2-0 or a 3-1 count. He was ahead on the first pitch strike 20 times today, and that really set up this particular performance by Burkett. So we told you that the rain a little lighter. Perhaps we're going to get this one in the not too distant future. Bruce Fremming, the crew chief of this one, called it off. I think the Cubs are going to be in pretty good shape in this ball game. Remember, they've still got a 1-game lead over Cincinnati. They're working on a 2-game losing streak, but they're trying to end all that here today. So we're going to take you back to the miracle of 1989. We're going to pick it up with the Astros up 9-5. It's in the 8th inning. I got a feeling the Cubs are going to come out on top of this one. Let's see just exactly how they do that.
Welcome back. The Astros had a 9-5 lead in the bottom of the 8th, but any fans who left Wrigley Field early were kicking themselves when they found out what happened in this inning.
We go in the bottom of the 8th. Cubs need 4 runs to tie. Girardi will lead it off. He's 2 out of 3. The way Don Zimmer's been alternating his catchers, it looks like Rick Rona will be the catcher tomorrow night. He has frequently caught Rick Sutcliffe. There's Girardi. What's important now is base runners. Base on balls, hit batsmen. The pitch to Girardi. Curveball low and away. It's the only day game, except they're starting, I guess, a doubleheader in Boston and California. That evens it up, a ball and a strike.
Vance Law in the on-deck circle. He'll come on to pinch hit. That'll bring Les Lancaster into the game, and he'll become the 5th Cub pitcher of the day.
The pitch. Line drive, base hit into left field. There's a good beginning. That's Girardi's 3rd hit of the day.
All of them hit very hard, so Joe has had quite a day. And here comes Vance Law. Law hitting .239 with 6 home runs, 39 RBIs. 0 for 5 as a pinch hitter this year.
That's Joe Girardi's first 3-hit game in the Major League. Batting .216 now, which is a gain of 20 points today. Here's Vance Law. Law hitting .239 with 6 homers. Swung and he missed. 0-1 the count.
Nobody up in the bullpen yet for Houston. So at least to this point, Art Howe showing a lot of confidence in Brian Meyer.
The pitch. Low and outside. A base hit, a ball. Base on balls are 2, and a long one. You can make him in a hurry, as they proved in the 5th with their 5. Ball 2. 2 balls and the strike. Jerome Walt will be next. There's Art Howe, the Houston manager.